Well, finally, they've got a roster, but it's only going to be like this for opening day. It will change again tomorrow. Here's where we are. The players who will be in uniform today. Lineup with Diaz, Machado, Jones, Pierce, Snyder, Young, Flaherty, Scope, and Joseph. No real surprises there. Flaherty in because of the matchup against the Tampa Bay starter. He and Cabrera will be playing short. A short bench with Cabrera, Clevenger, and Lavarnway, two catchers. Tomorrow, Clevenger is expected to go out in order to get Chris Davis back on. So positionally, Jim Palmer, there we are.
Yeah, it is. And, if you look at Steve Pearce, his season really for the Orioles last year started here. He played a little bit in Milwaukee, but the Blake injury to Chris Davis, you mentioned he won't be playing today because of the suspension. He comes back tomorrow. So Pearce is going to play first. We saw not only did he hit 21 home runs, he can pick it over first, but tomorrow he could be your left-hander. And I guess the big question, if you looked at those players, Hardy will come back. He's got the shoulder problem. Weeder's throwing down on the field. At the end of the day, can our left-handers, can Snyder, can Diaz, can they do what Nick Markakis used to do for the Orioles, hang in against the left-handed pitching?
And, Jim, in a division where pitchers have really gone out of the sky here this spring and even before spring training started for the Orioles, they actually get a leg up when it comes to their starting pitch. And the reason, the guys they thought were going to be pitching are going to pitch. That's amazing. Let's start on the right. Tillman, Chen, Gonzalez, Norris, and Jimenez. Jimenez pitching so well that he's going to go into a regular five-man rotation to start the season. With Brock, Britton, Gosman, Garcia, the Rule 5 players made it. Hunter, Brian Mattis, O'Day, and Wright in the bullpen. That's pretty much what the Orioles thought they were going to have.
Yeah, I think, the only thing that kind of looks, that I look at is, okay, they invested $50 million in Jimenez. He did pitch well, struggled early on, made some modifications. I think in a perfect world, maybe Kevin Gosman, who's going to eventually, at least has the ability to become a number one guy. But Jimenez can't pitch in the bullpen. Gosman can, and he gives Buck. I mean, he can use Gosman, talking about Buck Shoulder, anywhere he wants to. He could use him to get righties and lefties out. But I wouldn't worry about the bullpen. Somebody said the other day the Orioles have too many starters. We know better than that.
And you've got T.J. McFarland, who is a major league pitcher, who because of the option situation will not be on the roster to start, but will be ready to go when needed. When we come back, opening day here in Tampa, we'll take a look at what's going on here at the Trop as the Orioles and Rays get set for Game 1. Baseball on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. We, of course, will be indoors here at the Trop. Outdoors, it'll be in the mid-upper 70s today. You see some clouds with a beautiful morning and early afternoon here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer back with you for the Orioles. Starters, of course, the key always. Nothing changes in baseball in that regard. Today we'll get a look at Chris Tillman, his second consecutive opening day starting for the Orioles. The choices Buck Showalter makes in pitching, he says, I want to know how that pitcher goes against that team, and I want to know how he pitches in that particular ballpark.
Yeah, you know, if you went back to last year, and you mentioned this is his second consecutive start, you probably wouldn't have done that because he was, 2-5? Well, last year everything changed. Look at the 2-0 record, 1.71 ERA. So if you really kind of wanted to match up Tillman against Archer last year in 10 innings gave up 10 runs. Now, I think he's one of the best young right-handers. So we have a matchup of two guys, Gary, that are 26 years old. You know, Tillman's kind of like I was, one of those high ball, curveball, changeup guys, and Archer wants you to get it on the ground. What do the Orioles do best last 2 years? Lead the league in home runs, lead the world in home runs. We'll see if they can do that off of Archer today.
And we can look at the same thing that Buck looks at with pitchers when we look at hitters. Who fares well when playing here at the Trop? As Caleb Joseph likes to say, you are what you are at the Trop because there's no sun, there's no wind, there's no rain. You either hit it or you don't.
Well, you're right. And, you know, Chris Davis is not going to play today. You know, he's only hit about 202 here at the Trop, but he hit 18 home runs, 16 collectively. Home on the road. Steve Pearce, and he kind of jump-started his season, hit a couple of home runs when he got to play down here in May of last year, and then Delman Young, who's coming off a terrific spring, terrific year last year. We were at 10 for 20 as a pinch hitter. He'll get to play today.
All right, Buck Showalter's ready to go. So are the players. Obviously, it's a long wait. And the opening day ceremonies would kind of go on and on, which are entirely appropriate in every ballpark. But for the players, it's like, let's go.
They were ready 3 weeks ago.
Throw that first pitch. All right, let's take a look at our Express Stat by Express Care, a LifeBridge health partner. For locations, visit whywaitinther.com.
And there you go. I mean, Tillman and Archer, both 26, both power guys. Archer had the third best velocity of any pitcher in baseball as a starter, 94.5. Tillman, a couple of ticks lower, but he's got the big overhand curveball to go with it.
So the teams take the field. The managers will come out and exchange the lineup cards. Kevin Cash, his first year, the youngest manager in all of the four major sports. It is his birthday today, 37 years old. How about that as a way to start your major league managing career? Your first game on the bench as the guy in charge is your birthday. That'll be the case for him today. He goes up, there he is right there, Kevin Cash. They love him here already. Players have great respect for him. Very humble, very quiet. Kind of a stay out of the way kind of guy who wants all the emphasis to be in his players.
And he is a hometown boy. That kind of makes it. I'll tell you, I don't know. He must have had a heck of an agent because he got a 5-year deal. He has never managed at any level last couple of years. But we saw him. He would have played about 11 years, but the last 2 years he was on the staff of Terry Francona with the Indians.
It's game one against 2,000 plus for Buck Showalter as a manager. All right, let's take a look at the starting lineup brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Alejandro Deza will get the start in left. Manny Machado at third. Adam Jones at center. Steve Pearce will be at first base. Travis Snyder in right. Delman Young will DH. Ryan Flaherty the shortstop. Jonathan Scope at second. And Caleb Joseph will do the catching. Steve Pearce with the breakout season Jim was talking about last year.
And take a look at our scouting report on the 26-year-old right-hander. Well, very positive attitude. He said, listen, I probably, if Alex Cobb was healthy, wouldn't be pitching this game. I planned on pitching a complete game anyway, so why not do it on opening day? Certainly capable of done it. I've done it before in the park. 12 home runs in 194 innings. One of the best home run to inning ratios. And then we mentioned in the opening last year, and it doesn't really reflect his total year, as he was 10-9 with a 3.33 ERA. Orioles got 10 runs in 10 hits. He was very much like Chris Tillman, Gary, where he struggled early and then really settled down in his second year as a starting pitcher in the American League.
And of course the Orioles, as we have said, get this Tampa Bay team at a time when they have 4 starters who are going to be on the DL to begin this season. So they look forward to getting guys back and hope that those who are here, like Archer, will be able to get the job done while they wait for those injured to return.
Yeah, he probably would have been your number 3 starter. I mean, I don't really think Kevin Cash, because, I mean, had a terrific spring. ERA of about 120, 169, 2-2. Got his innings. Actually pitched on Thursday a little bit, so he's only getting 3 days of rest, which is a little bit unusual, but only threw about 27 pitches. So again, a sinker baller. He's got a sharp slider, occasional changeup. That's the pitch he used and worked on in spring training.
And we're ready to go. Alejandro Deza will stand in as expected, getting the start in left field. There are the numbers from last season. Left-handed batter who's got a 4 for 16 in the lineup. Deza here at the Trop. And this 2015 season is underway, and the pitch is in there for a strike. And it is now official. They will have a sellout crowd here at the ballpark for Buck Showalter's team. They have won 4 consecutive season openers and will try and continue that here in this ball game against the Tampa Bay team that they had a good season against last year. They went 12-7. Slow roller off the artificial carpet. Better hurry. Throw it away. Great backup made by Forsythe, the second baseman. And that may very well be an infield hit for Deza, who forced the defensive issue with his speed.
Yeah, you're going to get a great angle right here because you have to pick it up and throw. Now he's inside the line. If you hit him in the rear end, he would have been out. Has to be in that 45-foot line. So really, by not cheating, but by violating the rules, he took away the angle, and Archer, because he didn't really have an angle to get it to Loney at first, heaved it, and that was a nice job by Forsythe backing up, or otherwise you might have had a runner on third base.
Well, there you go. For the Orioles, right away you see one of the things they wanted to get out of Deza in the leadoff spot, and that is that speed to create some havoc. Now let's see if they will even try and run with it here. Manny Machado will take the pitch outside for a ball. He's looking down to third here to Bobby Dickerson, the Orioles third base coach, to see whether or not Buck Showalter, who did a good deal of run and hit and run bunts during the spring season to try and force the offense into gear, whether he'd do it here. A tailing pitch that's going to break inside, and Manny Machado will get ahead on the count here, 2-0 for Alejandro Deza, the 69% career number, effectiveness in stealing bases. Rivera, who's behind the plate, threw out 36% last year, and that pitch is going to miss. And Archer, having to go to the stretch, gets in trouble on Manny Machado with a 3-0 count.
Yeah, I was talking to Scott Coolbaugh, who comes on as a hitting instructor, and he said his strength is that slider, and then he's a running fastball.
And he'll take it, and he'll get the strike.
And he throws. If you throw a fastball, whether you're 26 or 36, you hold the one across the seams. That's the one that maybe doesn't have quite as much a movement. Then the two-seamer, boy, it runs all over the place, sinks away from lefties into righties.
Runner not going, and he walked him, and so the Orioles have got it going here in the first inning. 2 on and nobody out.
Yeah, take a look at the defense. Second best a couple of years ago. Last year, 89 errors. Jennings, Kiermaier, Souza Jr., along Orioles, 1 Gold Gloves, Cabrera, Forsythe, Loney, and then Renny Rivera comes over from the Padres, one of the better catch and throw guys in the National League, and had a nice little year with the bat for the Padres last year.
Archer had trouble with the walks, and he's given up 1 year. He gave up 72 walks in 194 innings last season. So Adam Jones gets an RBI chance right away. And by the way, that was an error charge on Archer on the Deza throw, and he'll go after the first one and foul it off. So Deza reaches on the error. He's at second. Machado with a walk on at first, and Archer having to throw some pitches here against the Orioles early on in this ball game.
Yeah, you get the feeling, though, if you're the Rays, and is that because of the sinker and the fact that he throws a lot of ground balls. I mean, 266 balls on the ground, only 169 in the air last year, and that's how you only throw 12 home runs. Of course, you're one swing away from a 3-run home run here with Jones.
0-1 delivery put up in the air, right center field. Runner will tag at second base. Kiermaier comes over. He'll make the catch. Throw will come into second. Runner will stay at first.
Yeah, nice play. I mean, it's a routine fly ball. Deza knows it's deep. So if you want to pitch here, that's where you want them if they're going to hit the ball in the air. But again, they do a nice job of hitting the cutoff man, and you keep the double play in order. And that's paramount. The Orioles certainly would like to have had runners at second and third. Little slider. You can see Adam Jones having to reach for it, and then Kiermaier can really go get him. I mean, outstanding defensive right fielder last year, now playing center field.
with Jennings moving over to the left.
So first and third now with one away. Jones retired. Diaz goes to third base. Machado stays at first. And here is Pierce. The Orioles looking for a big year from Steve Pierce, who starts at first base in this ball game. Infield double play depth, and they'll jam him to the middle, and a strike on the inside corner from Archer. You see the second baseman Forsythe moved way over. Pierce has got that whole right side of the infield to drive a ball through if he can get one over there.
Yeah, you would say that he's most likely a guy that pulls the ball, but boy, how many times last year did we see him take that slider into right field?
Ground ball down to third, foul. The outfield plays him straight away, so fly balls are straight. As Jim says, though, on the ground, the tendency obviously has been to go to that left side. Pretty good speed here off this carpet. They've watered down the dirt area. You can see how dark that dirt area is. To give the infielders maybe a fraction of a step quicker to get to a ball than they might have otherwise. Archer looking for a ground ball or a strikeout. 0-2-1 down. And another one fouled off by Pierce. Pierce last year was one of the leaders in the Orioles in a lot of categories, but with runners in scoring position, he hit .319, along with the overall .293 average, big 21 home runs, 49 RBIs. I mean, for Steve, it was genuinely a breakout season. Now the Orioles hope that can continue again.
Yeah, same stance, closed stance with the front foot, and so strong.
0-2 count. Archer a look over, a long look, holds it, steps off, and Manny Machado will go back to the bag.
Yeah, Archer, we mentioned didn't throw a lot of home runs. I mean, look at those numbers right there, 21 home runs, and because of the bleak injury to Chris Davis, got to play the end of May, or actually the end of April, and then into early May, and down here in 3 games hit a couple of home runs. But Archer also struck out 174 in 194 innings last year, so
he takes care of some of the walks and Ks, doesn't he?
Well, he was kind of like a lot the way I was. I could strike him out, but I could walk him with the best of them.
And the delivery is going to miss down low. Good eye by Pierce, trying to get him to go after the sinker.
Yeah, the one number, you look at it every year. A couple of years ago was 185, but last year with 2 strikes, it gives you an idea how difficult it is to hit when pitchers get ahead. 176 in the American League.
1-2 delivery on the way, and that's going to miss outside. Good stop made by Rivera. So Pierce, with a good eye, evens the count up. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Seems like about 30 or 40 years ago, I asked Brooks Robinson, who ended up in the Hall of Fame with his 16 gold gloves. I said, "What's the toughest count?" He said, "Jimmy, with 2 strikes. Got to protect everywhere, up and in, down and away."
Can't guess.
Throwing 96.
2-2 count. First and third occupied, and he got him. Great pitch. Caught the outside corner. No argument from Pierce on that one, and a big strikeout.
Well, you talked about it. He's either hunting a strikeout, and look at this pitch. Rivera, just freezes it at Demuth. Dana Demuth doing the home plate umpiring, and then, this is 96. Pitcher's pitch. Can't throw it any better than that. Pierce was hoping it might have been out of the strike zone, but it wasn't.
So now a chance to get out of the inning after the Orioles got the first 2 on. And here is Travis Snider. Snider getting the start as expected in right field for the Orioles. And the Orioles really kind of waiting to see what kind of numbers he will put up. That's a ground ball to the hole and a base hit. They had him shifted the other way. Snider delivers a 2-out RBI, and the Orioles have the first run for 2015.
Well, there's your shift. And, everybody tells you, well, sometimes it works. There's Cabrera right behind Archer. This is a 94-mile-per-hour sinker down and away. Where do you think he's going to hit it? He hits it right to where you would have anticipated, but nobody's playing there. So the shift, it doesn't work. He has a good at-bat. He really grounded out to shortstop.
Yep.
He gets a run in. He gets an RBI. And Archer's saying, uh-oh.
Now first and second, here is Delman Young. Delman in the DH role, not one to wait around at the plate, and he will foul that one off. So Delman will play a little outfield, a lot of DH. Big numbers for him with that 302 mark last year, 30 RBIs, and is going to get plenty of at-bats. Did this spring, and the designated hitter role is where he's going to be primarily, although the Orioles are not afraid to put him in the outfield and give him a chance. Manny Machado down at second base. Snider's on at first for the RBI. Archer with the 0-1 delivery on the way, and a big cut, and that one's foul back.
Yeah, kind of got away with that slider. He just kind of hung a little bit. Well, he's a slasher. And when you look at Delman Young, and they certainly know about him here, he was the #1 draft choice for the Rays. But you have no idea. I mean, he can spray it all over the ballpark.
He is facing Archer for the first time in his career. And a swing and a miss. So it took 19 pitches. Archer gets a couple of strikeouts, but the Orioles get a run on a hit, an error, and a walk. Tillman to the mound. Out crowd here at the Trop for this opener. The Orioles have the 1-0 lead. Team they face today, the Rays. A lot of new faces on this ball club. Jaso DH, unusual leadoff spot. Young player they're really counting on, Steven Sosa Jr. Asdrubal Cabrera, Evan Longoria, James Loney, Desmond Jennings, Logan Forsythe, Rene Rivera will be their catcher, and Kevin Kiermaier in center. Longoria last year with the 91 runs batted in.
And for Chris Tillman, our scouting report, ace-like, well, he gave up 3 runs or less in 20 of his last 21 starts. Started a 2 playoff series for the Orioles, maturing 38-16 over the last 2.5 years. And then circle Longo. There's the guy, 5 lifetime home runs. How do you not pitch to him, or pitch to him on your terms? Get the guys out in front and behind him.
That's what he will try and do.
And John Jaso leading it off because it's pretty much about on-base percentage, occasional power.
So trying to get that leadoff man on as a designated hitter. He is 4 for 16 lifetime against Chris Tillman. Shift on against him. And Jaso will take the pitch inside for a ball. Chris Tillman last year was magnificent overall on the road. Unbelievable. He went 8-1. His road record last year with a 4.31 earned run average. He allowed 3 or fewer runs, 31 of his last 40 road starts, which is pretty sensational.
Yeah, he actually pitched better at home, where he was 5-5. ERA almost about a run and a half lower.
3-0 pitch is there.
Run support much better when he put on the Oriole Grays.
Yep. Second time in a row, as we mentioned, that he gets the opportunity to be out there as the opening day starter. Tillman's delivery. Jaso will take it, and a leadoff walk.
Now take a look at the Orioles defense. A little bit different with Hardy on the DL. Weeders along with him. Diaza, Jones. This is Travis Snyder, your right fielder. That's the outfield. Machado, Flaherty, Scope, Pierce, and then Caleb Joseph, who did most of the catching last year. Terrific job. Catch and throw guy. Would be behind the plate.
So the leadoff man on for both these teams. Diaza scored after reaching on the error. There was an unearned run, by the way, in that first inning for the Orioles. And here is Steven Sosa, gets the start in right field for this ball club. And they just hope he can be everything that he's been predicted to be, and be it right now.
Well, he certainly was last year when he played AAA for the Nationals. 350. I mean, hit a bunch of home runs. 18 of them, stole bases, on base percentage almost 43% of the time. very good outfielder. Saved the Jordan Zimmerman no-hitter.
Fastball by Tillman, 91 miles an hour. Will miss inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, they just think. I mean, this is a team that went from 700 runs to 612 last year. They pitched well. They just didn't hit.
They were last in runs in the league.
Exactly, and they went from, what, usually win 90 games. What, 5 of the last 8 years going into the last year, only won 77.
Breaking ball, off-speed pitch that did not get it. And Chris Tillman himself is constantly talking about inning number 1 and even into inning number 2, saying, I just still trying to find a way, as many starters do, to have that good start in the first inning.
Yeah, opening day last year against the Red Sox in Baltimore, he hit 95, 90, 91 here. And he cannot tell you why. Maybe it's rhythm. Maybe the front side doesn't stay in.
Nobody steals against him virtually. 2 years, 2 stolen bases, and only 13 attempts.
Well, that's the amazing thing to me. Chris is 6'5". Normally takes you a little bit longer to release the ball. Now the Orioles do have good throwing catchers. You know, Wieters, when he's healthy, certainly one of them, and then Joseph threw almost 40% of the runners out last year.
Runner off first base. That pitch will catch the outside corner. So Tillman gets one in there, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Sosa. Sosa will be followed in the lineup by Cabrera. Matt Wieters was throwing on the field today, just playing toss along the third base line before the game. They really do not know when Matt Wieters is going to be ready to come back. 2-2 count. Runner not going. Pitch again on the outside corner, and got him. A great location by Tillman.
Yeah, very much like the pitch that Steve Pearce, maybe not the velocity, but knee high outside the maybe third of the plate. Not on the corner. It's a young hitter. He had his count in his favor, did not, or was not able to do anything with it. And then Chris Tillman gets back into the count and just throws him with a fastball knee high.
So he gets the out. Oriole infield will shift around again. They're all looking into the dugout here as Asdrubal Cabrera will stand in. Switch hitter getting the start at shortstop. 3 for 9. Lifetime off Tillman. At first base is Jaso. And he showed bunt, trying to go to that third base side and pick up a base hit, which had he got it down, he would have had.
That's all he needed to do. Yeah, Manny Machado playing shortstop, which is his position in the minors coming up. So it's a curveball, harder to bunt. I don't usually practice on that. Well, I learned that when I came to the big leagues at 19. Charlie Lau went on to be one of the great hitting instructors. Everybody says the high fastball, curveball's tougher. It's easier to drop the bat head.
Cabrera, let's see if he'll try it again here. He does. In the dirt. Runner goes. Got a chance. Throw and got him. Wow, what an outstanding pick by Ryan Flaherty on the hustle throw by Caleb Joseph. It was not on the mark. He had to reach for it to get it, and he did.
Yeah, watch him block this curveball. It's not an easy play. Keeps it in front of it, then pulls it a little bit, and then able to get the glove over.
Look where that leg was, Jim.
Yep.
That's why you straddle a bag. He did more than straddle. He blocked it. He had the knee down in front.
So take a look right here. Gets the glove across. Jaso, not a lot of speed before the concussions. Was a catcher. I mean, he's leading off not because of his speed, but his ability to get on.
And again, there's going to be some more bunting practice going on tomorrow. I mean, he's had every chance on these. The Orioles have not changed the infield adjustment against him. And if he just had been able to put that ball down in fair territory, probably there'd be 2 men on base and 1 away.
Well, I was talking to, Derek Shelton, their hitting instructor, Jamie Nelson, the assistant. He said guys don't like to either hit. They don't like to hit off of, in spring training, off of live pitching. Well, if you don't like to hit off it, you know you don't like to bunt on it. And there's a big difference between bunting against a machine, bunting against a guy that throws BP.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you got Tillman. He's won 13-6 last year because they see the ball real well. And it's just hard to really be able to do what you want to do.
Joseph wants it away. Got it. Dropped off the table. Pitch he wanted, though. And the count 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bases are empty now and 2 down as Jaso the second out at second base. And Tillman a chance to get out of this, facing only 3 hitters. This will be his 16th pitch of the inning. 2-2 delivery on the way and fouled off by Cabrera.
Well, you've already seen one of the constants that the Orioles in the last 3 years as they've become a winning team after losing for 14 consecutive years is is the ability to defend. So Archer throws his swinging bunt away, and then Tillman bounces a curveball. Not only Joseph blocks it, he makes a good enough throw where Flaherty can make a great tag. And now you got a chance to get out of this inning after they got the leadoff batter on in a 1-0 game.
Though Tillman will go full on it. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Cabrera, 29-year-old, acquired free agent signing. Brought him over here to fill that spot at short with all the changes that were made. Tillman's delivery to him got him to pull the arms back in. It'll go to shallow right field. Jonathan Schoop will be called off by Snyder, and he's got it. Tillman's out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base, only 3 faced. 1 inning into the season. Orioles lead at 1-0. The year is Stephen Bowley Sr. from Gwen Oak. You've won $500 for being selected. You get $500 more for every Orioles home run hit during our ball game. Play baseball bucks scratch offs and you can win up to $50,000 instantly, or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the Maryland Lottery contestant of the game. Find out how at mdlottery.com/baseball. And good luck, Stephen. Archer back out on the mound, and the Orioles back to the plate. Here is Ryan Flaherty getting the start at shortstop because he is 4 for 9 lifetime off Chris Archer.
Yeah, I love it when Buck Showalter, he won't exactly allude to that number, but he'll go, well, good matchup.
Yep.
It's 4 for 9.
And a strike taken on the inside corner. The shift is on against Flaherty as they do the full left-hander switch.
Yeah, they leave Longoria, and it's something he worked on in spring training, that if they were over a little bit more, he probably would punt.
Down to first base on the big bouncer, played to the bag. Loney is there. Flaherty retired, 1 down. Now the regular season, of course, is here, and the best way to secure your spot for all the action, the Orioles full or partial season plans. Season plan members, exclusive ticket savings, Major League Baseball's most flexible exchange policy, the access to postseason tickets, a lot of orange carpet benefits. So don't miss out. Orioles.com/tickets or 888-848-BIRD. Jonathan Schoop, the start at second base, and the shift is on against him. And he goes the other way, and that's going to plug for a base hit. He'll make the turn and stay. The infield was moved around the other way. The outfield pretty much straight up, but nobody was going to get that one. Souza played it back in. Scoop's on.
Yeah, it's a little slider. He'll inside out it. He waits and then just dumps it down the right field line. It would be like when you play golf, you get one throw and you throw your opponent's ball right off the green. But that we worry. Jonathan, where can you throw it? Scott Coolbaugh going. The new hitting instructor for the Orioles, just like we worked on all spring in Sarasota.
You're a major league coach and somebody does something like that, you go, yes, you listened.
Well, it's like pitching coaches that go out and you go out with the bases loaded and you say something, and as you're getting back to sit down, the ball goes over the wall. You stop going out with the bases
loaded. You don't go out anymore.
No.
It's dangerous.
No,
except with you, of course.
Well,
everybody would go with you on the mound.
because they know that I pitched around enough guys that
Well, you walk a guy bases loaded and get the next one. Here's Caleb Joseph and a pitch by Archer that's going to be up high.
Yeah, you could see Rivera. You get an idea of what a live arm this kid has. I honestly, and I know I pitch games where maybe you throw 109 pitches and throw 104 fastballs. He has that kind of two-seamer, four-seamer to do that. He won't do that because he loves his slider. Threw it about 27% of the time. There's another one.
And just missed inside with it. He's struggling a little bit. Consistency, as you might expect here in game one.
Well, you talk about the walks, and their notes say that in the month of May, I mean, he was really wild. Right? He pitched 32 innings, 21 walks, and then after that, he was almost under 3 per 9 innings, which is good, especially for a young pitcher. Yep.
86 miles an hour. Broke that one in a little bit, a little wrinkle on it, and Joseph will have a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Yeah, Caleb gets another chance. I mean, Matt Wieters, the injury. Everybody thought Matt would be back for opening day until about 3 weeks into 2.5 weeks in. Now Matt back on the DL. So again, as happened last year because of the injury, Caleb gets another chance. 2-2 delivery on the way, and that's up high.
I think you have to be pretty comfortable from what I saw. I mean, I pitched for 20 years and went through and outlasted most of my catchers. He did a nice job.
Yeah.
Play calling, throwing. I mean, obviously, when you hit home runs in 5 consecutive games, which he was able to do in August, you like that. Struggled at the end, though, with the bat. So
3-2, runners going, put him in the air to right field. Osa's going to have an easy time of this one. Runner will go back, Jonathan Scope. And there are 2 down. Well, the DL, of course, always a problem all year long for ball clubs, and boy, was it ever this spring for a lot of teams. The Orioles, Hardy, of course, out with that left shoulder strain, should be back when he's eligible. Same for David Lowe. They don't know about Matt Wieters when he'll get back. Paredes should be ready to go around the 11th with that lower back strain. And as we said for Tampa Bay, a disaster when it comes to their starting pitchers. I mean, you're going to start a season where the guys you are really counting on when pitching is your strength, not to have 4 of your starters nor your closer available to you. It really kind of puts the heat on real early in the year. That'll be foul back as Deza reached on an error and scored his first time up, stands in. 0-1 count, 2 down, runner on at first base.
The little things right here. You got 2 outs. This guy doesn't throw many home runs. Talking about Chris Archer for the Rays. So, what kind of secondary lead do you get? Because if he hits one up the gap or even slices it down the line, can you score from first?
And that one will be taken down low. The Orioles were near the bottom of that, 3rd from the bottom in scoring from first base on doubles last year. Something that Showalter obviously would like to see picked up, especially if your home runs numbers may not be quite as high as last year. No, they may be. I mean, you don't know, but you got to figure you lost a lot of home runs. Maybe you're not going to lead the majors again. That's a strike, high strike call. 1-2.
Yeah, that slider. He loves the slider. And he'll throw it any kind. And again, when you're throwing 94 to 96, that's what you're hitting off of. I mean, that was the whole theory. It just it changes a little bit with 2 strikes. But Scott Coolbaugh saying, okay, we're going to look away. If he hangs a slider, maybe it'll speed up the bat.
1 ball, 2 strike count, 2 down. Not a big lead at first base for Jonathan Scope. But again, a lot of zip on it.
96 at your ankles.
He's got to be fun to catch, huh?
Well, they gave him an 8-year deal at age 25 in his first year in the big leagues. I mean, right, look at him pull that fastball. Great. A great picture of him actually pulling down. Looked like he tried to run it right at the inside corner, have it run over the plate, but he missed.
See, it bounces in the catcher's glove. There's so much on it. Swing and a miss. Came back inside and gets it. So Archer will pick up the strikeout. The Orioles no runs on 1 hit with 1 left on. The O's lead it.
All-Star game, Jim, that got even better.
Well, it really was, and you get two new pitching coaches, Dave Wallace, Dom Chidi. I mean, you can see reflectively that again, their philosophy: we're going to command the ball down and away. It's going to maybe get us some easy outs. Orioles certainly taking advantage of it, and it's, to me, it's kind of the Orioles were a 500 club until they got into the month of June, and their best offensive month was May, and they were under 500. But when they started pitching well, they started winning.
Here is Evan Longoria, the veteran and face, of course, of this ball club, as he has been for years. And the numbers from last season, good RBI numbers, 22 home runs, and he has really been a problem for Tillman, along with a lot of other pitchers, to get out of there. He's got 5 career home runs, as Jim mentioned, against him, and a .394 career batting average against the Orioles starter.
So I guess ideally you like to pitch to him not leading off an inning because you have a 1-0 lead, but you can't really change that.
1-1 delivery on the way to him. Oh, pulled a string on him and had him way out in front. I think he hit that on the backswing. He was so far in front, 1-2.
Well, he does have a good curveball. He throws it over about 47% of the time. Last season, you think it's going to be here and it's there. So even the hanger, hard to get to.
And he gets him to go after Heath that was up and away, and Tillman gets his second strikeout.
So you get the 2 strikes, and then what do you do? A little more. First time he's gotten over 91. And again, because you could see it's not a hitch, it's a trigger for Longoria because he's that good a hitter, but just couldn't quite catch up with that fastball.
Tillman gets the first out. He retired 71% of leadoff batters last year. Here is James Loney, another middle of the order guy they are counting on. 69 RBIs, 9 home runs last year. He's had 1 lifetime home run off Tillman. Fouls it away. 3 for 22. Loney's numbers.
Yeah,
Loney at first base.
Yeah, not. I mean, when he did get the hits, one of your 3 hits is a home run. You got to be happy about that. But the 3 for 22, and this is a guy in his 2 years in the American League who's hit over 290 last year, 299 the year before, 9 home runs last year, 13 the year before. But he's a line drive hitter. I think that played well with the Dodgers.
No,
it plays well here in this ballpark.
Loney puts that one up in the air to right field. He had pretty good wood on it, but it won't reach the warning track. It'll be hauled in.
Yeah, if you can pitch to the big part of this ballpark from the 370s, and that's what the power alley is, you got a good chance. If you're down on the field, Orioles worked out yesterday. The Rays had this voluntary.
Talk about this ballpark, Jim. As you would expect, it is a pitcher's ballpark. Part of that because Tampa Bay did not hit well last year, but the home runs 3rd lowest, 2nd lowest batting average, 2nd lowest in runs per game combined, and the ERA the 2nd lowest.
Yeah, they really, I mean, they pitch well too.
Yes.
So.
Yep. Well, this is a tough ballpark to drive the ball out of. It's got its size.
You know, when you're down on the field, there is, I mean, not like Sarasota where the wind usually blows out every day, but there's a discernible little breeze, but it's I don't know which way it blows. In other words, you know, you can feel the air conditioning, and I mean, it's not like 5 miles per hour, but probably what, a half a mile per hour. I mean, it doesn't seem much, but there is a air current in this ballpark. It's just
doesn't move the flag or anything, which tells you how light it is, but it's here. It has to be in a building this big with all the air conditioning going on. 0-2 count. Tillman looking for the clean inning against Jennings, who is 2 for 20 off him. Right-hander's pitch, and that'll be foul back into the seats and out of play.
Yeah, Desmond Jennings is one of those guys that it seems like, you know, a couple of years ago hit 3 home runs off the Orioles. He's a first ball fastball hitter unless you hang a breaking ball. And then he becomes a first pitch hanging breaking ball hitter. One of these years they keep thinking that he's going to get it together. I mean, he can do a lot of things, steal bases, good defensive player, but had the most chances in the outfield without an error last year. Only 15 steals. There's that little breeze. It's not a whole lot.
Just enough, and there's the air conditioner.
Yeah.
Right behind it.
One year Jennings stole 30 out of 32. So
only a .221 lifetime hitter against the Orioles. Off-speed delivery. He's going to miss down low. Tampa Bay franchise goes back to a 98. The Orioles and Tampa Bay have played dead even coming into this season. Each team has won 148, lost 148. Orioles here in this ballpark at the Trop 70 and 79 all time. Tillman with a pitch that's up high, so he works him to a 3-ball, 2-strike count here with 2 down and nobody on in the second inning. Cash will do a lot of walking over there, one would think, in his first day as a major league manager, pacing, staying abreast of everything going on in the game, making sure he doesn't miss anything. 3-2, foul back again. Count stays full.
Well, everybody I talked to said spring training, not that Joe Maddon, I mean, Joe Maddon did a terrific job. But 6 out of the last 9 years, they won 90 games. They said he communicates well. If you talk to the coaches, they said he really trusts us, something that Buck Showalter, because you delegate so much as a major league manager.
3-2 delivery, and he'll walk him. Totally not happy with that one with himself.
Yeah, well, second, he got behind Jazo. And then I think with Jennings, he got a 1-0 lead. You're trying to make a good pitch, didn't. Well, I'm not sure that fastball in the middle of the plate to Jennings, I mean, that could have tied the game up. He's got that kind of power.
So a runner on with 2 down. And Tillman goes against Rene Rivera. Rivera is doing the catching. And we'll get a look here at the Orioles starter for the first time. The Orioles do put the infield shift on against him, leaving that right side wide open. And he will take the breaking ball away. Very important piece for the Rays right there. He's it. He's the guy, as we said in spring training, one of the games, the word from the coaches was we're going to ride him as far as we can when it comes to the catcher role for Tampa Bay. And they like it. 1-0 delivery on the way, and he'll put the ball down the line in right field. As it got carry, no. Snyder will come over and put it away, and that's the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on. The Orioles will have Machado coming up and a 1-0 lead. Sarasota, Florida, spring training home of the Orioles and a great destination for culinary adventure, from the fresh local seafood to an eclectic array of world-class cuisine. Savor Sarasota Restaurant Week coming up June 1 through the 14th, celebrating its 10th year. Visit savorsarasota.com. You can find some place that has the hook-caught black grouper. Buy it. It is so good, and then finish it up with an atom pie.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, had that black grouper last night. One of the best meals in a long time. Here's Manny Machado. Machado, he had to walk his first time up. That'll go towards the hole. Pitcher's got a cover. Loney, the flip. Archer is there. Pitch and an out to start the third inning. Join fellow O's fans this week for a series of Operation Orange rallies throughout Birdland. Tomorrow night, 5 to 7, former O's pitcher Rick Rivner will be at the rally at Dempsey's Brew and Pub Restaurant. You can enjoy food beverage specials before the O's take on the Rays. 7:10 start. Thursday, you can join Larry Bigby, former O's outfielder, special rally at the Audubon Indoor Speedway in Jessup, 5:30 to 7:30. If you want a complete schedule of these Operation Orange rallies, go to Orioles.com/rallies.
rallies.
The Speedway. I see Dempsey's name up there. You ever drive with Rick Dempsey?
No.
Yeah.
Nor would I.
No.
You survived the years. I don't know how in that regard, but
I'm not talking about his pitch calling.
Sorry. No, I meant the driving. The other one who took it that way.
Denver.
Rick, that was him.
No,
that was him who said that. I was not talking about catching. I was talking about driving.
I have dome fever down here, Rick. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Adam Jones flying out to center field his first time up. 404 to deep center here. That's a chopper right over the bag. Forsythe, you see your arm. You got one.
Yep. Kind of like what you were talking about, the black grouper with catch and release right there. You better catch it and release it quickly, or it's going to be an infield hit. Hook caught black grouper.
That's as fresh as you can get it. I have a very good friend in Sarasota where I live, was a fishing guide, and he fishes a lot for grouper, redfish on the intercoastal about a mile out. Boy, when he comes home with those black grouper. Right. Here is Steve Pearce. Pearce will foul that one off at the plate. Strikeout victim, his first time up.
How about the movement on that changeup? Yeah, struck him out low and away with a fastball, and then turned that changeup over, and it moved about 6 inches.
Archer settling in, as is Tillman, as would be expected. Pitch will be up high. Pitching coach for them, Jim Hickey, long time here in Tampa, talked about the great changeup he's got. He compares it to that of Felix Hernandez, which is a big wow, because that is an enormous changeup. Hickey said what he's got to do, though, he's got to find a way to clean up, as he put it, command of the fastball.
Well, it looks like he's done a pretty good job of that.
Clean up work.
Yeah, he has made more hittable pitches with a slider today than, and of course, we're only in the third inning, than any of the other pitches.
1 ball, 2 strike count on Steve. Pearce will take that one into the shift. That's the second baseman. Forsythe makes the play, and the Orioles are retired into 12. Go to the bottom half of the third inning. It'll be 8, 9, and 1 coming up. The numbers for the Orioles opening day starter.
A couple of things happened. Better pitches, better quality pitches. Said the change up, and then the run support got better. He pitched better. That's a great combination. Learned that early on from Cal Ripken Sr. You need to give up less than your team scores, and he did a great job of that. And then the consistency that we talked about, 20 out of 21 of his last starts. In fact, 20 in a row, 3 runs or less, and then Toronto got 4 runs in his last start last year. So the model of consistency.
2-0, 1-7-1 against Tampa Bay last year. Jim talked about that in the open. And the pitch will be taken away for a ball. Logan Forsythe, the second baseman, getting his first at bat here. Kiermaier, who's really a leadoff batter, batting 9th, and then Jaso at the top of the order. Ball will be popped up and back into the seats. Game 1 of the 3-game set for the Orioles. We'll be back with you tomorrow night. Wei and Chen, Nathan Carnes, and then third game, Miguel Gonzalez and Jake Odorizzi. Orioles get the day off, travel day Thursday, to get back home and then open up at home at Camden Yards. In fact, it was on this very date, April 6 in 1992.
If the Orioles opened, yeah. Rick Sutcliffe pitched the shutout against Cleveland.
Towering shot up into the ceiling here, first base. Pierce sees it and puts it away.
Yeah, that's the one thing when the ball goes up. Outfielders, it's very hard. If you ever take your eyes off it, it's hard to pick up. Same with infielders. It goes right up there, kind of the Metrodome type. One of those fields where you really have to help each other out. Never assume that the ball is going to be seen,
or you will lose it. Here is Kiermaier getting the start in center field. The numbers from last season for him, as we said, he's batting in the 9 spot, but he could easily be a leadoff batter. Manny Machado way in at third base. Ball put up in the air to left. De Aza will back up. He's got it, and there are 2 down. And now it looks like David DeJesus is going to come on to pinch hit the leadoff batter, Jaso.
Yeah, I'm wondering when that he went into second base. It looked like he got up slowly. The other thing is, again, John Jaso over the last 2 years not catching anymore because of the concussion. So hopefully that is not the case here. But obviously DeJesus, one of the higher paid Rays, going to be a utility guy.
Yeah, a player who's not done what the Rays had hoped. Would like to have moved him, could not. So he ended up starting on the bench for a big salary, and now all of a sudden, very first game, he's needed here in the lineup as he'll come on as the designated hitter. 0-1 delivery on the way with 2 down, and the pitch taken outside for a ball.
Yeah, I was joking. I said, "Are you in the lineup?" He said, No, I'm on the bench." I said, "So you'll get Britton in the 9th?" He goes, "Well, I kind of relish that because it means the game is close." Zach Britton, the Orioles closer. I'm sure you want to face him if you're lefty, but
he said all the right things. Yeah. He wasn't negative. Said, "I understand." He said, "I love Sosa's out in right field, which is where I would have been playing if I started." He said, "I understand they like him, and I haven't produced the way they had hoped for, and they think they'll get more out of him for the team, so I'm just going to be ready." Well, ready it is, because here he is. 2 ball, 1 strike count. DeJesus will go after it, I think. Yep. Mike Estabrook, third base umpire.
Boy, there's such a difference when you chase and let out of the zone. You're looking fastball. Again, Chris Tillman, 6'5", over the top. He thinks it's a strike. It ends up being a ball. You get the check swing, and Chris gets back into the count. Otherwise, he would have to throw a strike at 3-1. Now it's 2-2. Big swing there.
DeJesus waiting on it, and the pitch will come inside to him.
Where was that pitch?
You know that DeJesus works it to the 3-2.
Yeah, you know that ball somewhere, even though Dana Muth didn't call it, crossed the strike zone. See, right there. Our pitch track got him out, but Dana DeMuth said you get the hit.
And he'll pop it up. Again, first base. Pierce again into that ceiling in foul territory, and he's got it. So another strong inning. Leadoff walk picked up by Jaso is now out of the game. Nobody else has been able to get on, set for another walk off Tillman. Southwest.com and by your local Mercedes dealership. Gary Thorne, Jed Palmer on the banks of the Gulf here in St. Petersburg, Florida. And the Orioles have the 1-0 lead, getting an unearned run in the first inning after an error on the pitcher. Archer allowed Deza, the leadoff batter, to reach. Manny Machado got a walk in with one away. Snyder picked up the RBI base hit the other way.
Yeah, now they're playing exactly where he hit it. Cabrera moved over.
Quick adjustment.
Yeah, there's a good changeup.
Gets him to be way out in front of that one. It'll be Snyder, Young, and Flaherty for the Orioles. 1-2-0 for the Orioles. Nothing on for the Rays but an error. 3 left on so far for the O's and 1 by Tampa Bay. And another one swung on a miss.
Well, that's what you were talking about. Kevin Hickey, the pitching coach, said that's, I mean, really an almost unhittable changeup, back-to-back changeups. And if you look at the fact, I mean, you can see him go to the 4-finger grip, and he turns it almost over like a screwball.
And the 0-2 delivery on the way. He'll bury that one down low. Making his opening day start on just his second opening day roster for this team. Last year was his first full season at the major league level. He led the staff with 32 starts last season, picking up the 10-9 record and 194 innings pitched. 1-2 delivery on the way. Snyder will take that the other way down the line. Jennings coming hard, not going to get it. That one falls in. Snyder's going to go for 2. Throw, and he's out. Stumble bumble slide. He trying to figure out where that ball was going to go, trying to stretch it to a double, and he'll be retired.
Yeah, the play's in front of you, and then Jennings, we told you he's usually a center fielder. You know, the one-hop throw, and then trying to get to the outside of the bag, but a very nice tag by Forsythe. He gets it in plenty of time, and then you have to understand your back is to the runner. So Snyder, you know, aggressive. It took a perfect play, nice tag, nice throw, and they made it.
So the leadoff batter is out of there. Young drives it in the air to center field. Off the bat, it looked good, but it wasn't that hard. As Kiermaier had a long way to come. He thought that was going to take him to the wall. You see him kind of holding his hands up like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, outfielders always say, boy, the big swing.
That'll get you. Saturday, enjoy the season's first night game at Oriole Park. The Birds take on the Blue Jays 7:05 in the first 20,000, 15 and over. We'll get the 2014 AL East champion wall art. Orange canvas, great for any room in the house. Great decoration and celebration of the O's great year. Just go to Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD for details. That's coming up on Saturday for the wall art. Ryan Flaherty grounded out his first time up. Full shift on against him, and Archer gets it in there for a strike.
Yeah, his changeup, of course, one of the great left-handers, most left-handed wins ever. Warren Spahn, he had that changeup he turned over. So here we got Archer throwing a lot harder than Warren did. You know, I'm not sure he's going to win 20 games 13 times like Warren did, but after the age of 25. But
not bad.
Great late movement.
1 ball, 1 strike count with 2 down. Flaherty, the outfield playing to left, infield playing to right, and the strike called. 86 on that one.
Yeah, I think Ryan Flaherty wanted that ball to be maybe an inch or 2 over before it got called a strike. He'd be rather hitting 2 and 1 than 1 and 2.
And the delivery to him, and a swing and a miss. He got him. So Archer has settled in. He's picked up 4 strikeouts with the Orioles with that first inning unearned run. Still have the lead. They're the only two definitive Tampa Bay Rays numbers retired, and that's Don Zimmer. Man I dearly loved. 66 represents 66 years that he spent in baseball. 11 of those were spent here with the Rays. A player, a manager, a coach with the Yankees, a long time with Joe Torre as the bench coach. Lost him last year. Just a tremendous human being, and congratulations to the Rays for recognizing him and putting that number up.
Really was. They had a video tribute, and Joe Torre, as you mentioned, said, you know, I hired him as a coach. He became one of my best friends and very much like a brother. Yeah. Can't say it any better than that.
Yep, we miss Zim. Sosa up, and we'll take the pitch for a ball. Chris Tillman has walked 2, struck out 2 so far. Steven Sosa Jr. getting the start in that number 2 spot in right field. Called out on strikes his first time up. Good ball game now as each pitcher is settled in. Here in the 4th, high strike being called by home plate umpire Dana DeMuth today.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that was just a cut fastball. I mean, we have a 2-0, but it's 1-1, and but normally that's a ball that would be called out of the zone.
And that one you got to protect on, and that will be fouled back to hold the count at a ball and 2 strikes. We mentioned as part of the speed up rules for Major League Baseball, it wasn't talked about the strike zone, but I thought seeing a number of spring training games, and maybe it was just because of spring training, that the strike zone was a little bigger, a little wider, a little higher, and was being called more to the book, if you will, rather than the smaller strike zone. Now that may in fact speed up the game, forcing the hitters to come to the plate to swing, but with the lack of offense in baseball, they have even less.
No. I mean, I had a number that it had already gone up. I mean, over the last year they said it went up like 6 hundredths of one inch or whatever, which is kind of demonstrative, especially when you have guys commanding the ball.
That'll go to short. Backhanded stop made. Flaherty's throw is not going to be in time. Sosa made a turn to second. They've got him here. He's going to be out. He knew he went to second base on the turn. Joseph makes the throw. Now they got him in a rundown. They'll take him back. This is Flaherty's tag. He's got to run him down. He does. Sosa knew it. The ball got away. He thought it was going to go further away, so he made a step and a half to second base. Then he tried to lie about it by walking back to the bag, but Steve Pearce was heads up and realized the situation and went out and got him, and now is he hurt?
Yeah, again, a lot of stuff that you do right there. He's just said, I don't know what he's thinking about. We saw players in the past, even some of the Orioles. Right there, he knows he made that feint, maybe a little bit of a premature throw by Joseph, and then you're going to throw it to Flaherty, who's got the momentum, and rough landing. And
wow. Now he's out of the game. What a start for the Rays. Jaso's out of there because of a left wrist injury that came earlier. Cobb, Colomb, Moore, Smiley, all starters down with injuries. Nick Franklin, the oblique injury. Jake McGee, an elbow injury. We'll see whether or not Sosa can get back. Manager, trainer went out, helped him back over, and he's sitting on the bench. So a good heads-up defensive play right there by the Orioles to catch him in the turn. And here's Asdrubal Cabrera flied out to right field. Flaherty not going to give that ball up again in the rundown, just dove at him, put the tag on.
Yeah, you really like to have no more than 2 throws. And yeah, you could tell. I mean, right there, that's a ball you normally want called a strike. But again, Dana DeMuth, all the umpires have their strike zones. His seems to be a little bit higher. But that's a big play in a 1-0 game.
Oh, yeah.
Leadoff guy with speed.
Yep.
Stole 26 bases last year.
Off speed delivery taken outside by Cabrera. Now 3 for 10 lifetime off Chris Tillman, who's thrown 55 pitches.
Yeah, he really hasn't used his changeup yet. And that was the first base hit, infield variety by Souza.
2-1 delivery on the way, fouled back. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Hit is credited, as Jim said, on that, an infield hit, not a continuation play. He was safe and then got caught trying to advance to second base. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down. Inside corner. That was there, and he's gone. Strikeout number 3 for Tillman.
Yeah, way away, and then look at the glove, look at the ball. Right to it. That's what you're able to do. Can you command the ball? Can you, if you're Cabrera, any of the Rays hitters, are you predictable? And Chris Tillman, at least to this point, hasn't been.
So there are 2 down. And the pitch taken away. Longoria will be looking long ball right here with his team down 1-0. Nobody on, 2 away. Longoria, strikeout victim, his first time to the plate. Tillman will just miss with that one and will fall behind on him 2-0.
Well, he's a better high ball hitter, and he is a home run hitter. As you mentioned, only 22 last year. That's a little bit down from a normal year. Usually, what, 3 times over 30.
Trying to launch that one. He couldn't get underneath it. He's had a total of 24 home runs in his career against the Orioles, who's a .271 lifetime hitter, over 140 games played against the Orioles, more than anyone else on this Tampa Bay team against the O's. Here's Tillman with a 2-1 delivery on the way, and he'll get the outside corner call. And the count goes 2-2. Remember, it is where that pitch gets to the plate, not where it's caught. Front of the plate determines the strike, which is why it's so hard to umpire. 2-ball, 2-strike delivery on the way, and that one he looked at. Almost got him to go after it. 3-2. They need a big year out of Longoria to help push this offense along. They were 13th in home runs, as well as being last in runs scored, and tied for 14th in OPS. 3-2 delivery on the way, and he got him. Went after that one up high. Has struck him out twice. 2 strikeouts in the inning and 4 in the ball game, along with a little defensive help. Again, only 3 batters faced. % off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com by entering promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, valid at participating Baltimore area Papa John's. With Jim Palmer, I'm Gary Thorne. In between innings, a little discussion about that rundown. Bobby Dickerson, Pierce on the right, Flaherty on the left. They want to limit the number of throws, as Jim said, just to prevent any misplays while in the rundown. Orioles leading at 1-0.
Well, you work on it, and then it happens, and you want them out.
It comes quickly.
Yes, it does.
Here is Jonathan Schoop. Archer's pitch bounced off the plate. Schoop a single his first time up. Joseph and De Aza coming up. Orioles have picked up 3 hits in the ball game. They are all singles. Snyder with 2 of them. Schoop with 1. Unearned run first inning. De Aza scored reaching on an error. 2-0. That's a one-hopper. Played by Cabrera.
See, there's a sinker. It's a hitter's count. Jonathan Schoop has a nice at bat, quality at bat, looks for his pitch, but 94 with a little bit of sink, even though it's hit hard right at your shortstop. That's what Archer can do. Yeah, the amazing thing is, their notes tell us, I mean, he signed a 6-year deal after his first year. Guaranteed, what, about $25 million over a couple of extra years. The Rays have always been, they did it with Longoria early on and then went back and adjusted it. People thought they were crazy. That worked out pretty well for them.
Trying to lock up the face of your franchise, which is what they think, obviously Longoria was going to be and what they hope Archer is going to be. Longoria certainly has been that for them both on and off the field. Caleb Joseph shift on against him, and the pitch is taken up high, and he'll get ahead. He flied out to right field his first time up. We've seen more shifts this spring, at least against the Orioles right-handed batters, than we've seen in previous years. And it's continued here, at least in this game against the righties. I saw a note, Baseball Info Solutions had a note last year. There were more than 13,000 shifts that were used. And if you went by their software on the number of shifts that they would have employed, they being the sabermetricians, it would have been 40,000 shifts based on the numbers that they had. 2 ball, 2 strike count. So you figure it's only going to grow, and shifts against right-handers seems to be where it's growing.
Well, they have their advanced scouts. They look. I mean, it's already backfired. The only run was they played up the middle. Snyder hit a routine ground ball to shortstop, went into left field. But you play the percentages. That's pretty much what baseball is.
3 ball, 2 strike delivery. Joseph will lash that one to the gap. It's headed the right way for him. Ball was curving away. Great cutoff right there. Kiermaier, his throw to the cutoff man will not be in time to get a play at second base, and it's a double for Joseph with 1 out.
Yeah, there's the slider. And again, if you ask Caleb Joseph, what are you going to do this year to hit better than you did last year? He said, well, I'm going to use the whole field. And he just goes with a slider. I mean, he's over there, maybe playing a step or two. He's got great range. And he can't quite get to it. Keeps it from being a triple, which with 1 out would have been huge for the Orioles.
So now Deza will get an RBI chance with 1 down. Alejandro Deza scoring the unearned run, reaching on the error by Archer, leading off the ball game. First extra base hit we've had in the game. Off speed delivery will miss up high for a ball. For Deza last year, very good number, 273 with runners in scoring position, and he had a lot of chances. He came to the plate 99 times with runners in scoring position. Yeah, you get over that 100 mark, and you're up there among the leaders on your team.
Yeah, usually hitting third or fourth.
Yeah.
So kind of unusual for somebody that hits down in the lineup. 253 were actually 251 was the American League runner in scoring position numbers. The Orioles were at 268, which I think put them maybe 4th or 5th. Tigers led the world.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Joseph off second base. That one will be foul back. Major League Baseball's opening day, of course. Yankees took the loss today to the Toronto Blue Jays by a score of 6-1. Tanaka got touched up pretty good. 5 runs, 5 hits in 4 innings. He did have 6 strikeouts, and then the Yankees went through a number of bullpen people. Encarnacion, Travis had home runs for Toronto teams. Figured to hit a lot of those this season. Foul back, 1 ball, 2 strike count. And away we go.
Yes. And if you could predict the future, we wouldn't play the 162 games.
We'd go directly to Nevada, to a city there.
That's right. You could start planning the playoff tickets right now if you really knew what was going to happen. And I don't care how good you are. I don't care how good you are on paper. It just doesn't work that way.
1-2 delivery, trying to lash that ball into left field as the pitch was down and away. He too going with it, and a 1 ball, 2 strike count.
Yeah, well, you like the approach. You know, they talk about the dearth of runs in the major leagues, lowest since what, 1981. Guys are striking out more. There's your Nissan pitching strike. So you can see has not gone in. Let's see if they read at least the swings by Daz and try to come in off the plate.
1-2, and that one will be fouled away.
And they did at 96.
Talking about those runs, Jim, over the last 20 years, 5 of the 6 lowest scoring seasons. 5 of the last 6 lowest scoring seasons have occurred since 2010. It's just been down, down, down with those strikeouts piling up. 1 ball, 2 strike count. And another one foul back.
Well, I read an article probably about 10 days ago. George Brett, Hall of Famer, Played in a huge ballpark. I mean, could hit home runs. I think George hit over 30 home runs one time, but he said there used to be a sense of pride not to strike out 100 times. And you keep the ball in play. Of course, that was turf field. Now it's grass. Huge ballpark.
Not anymore.
No.
The old players' strikeouts just don't matter that much anymore. Another one foul back. Not when it's the home runs that everybody wants to hit, and it's because the big dollars that came from it. So the response has been the arms in baseball, the number of them, number of pitchers you see in the course of a game. The power arms are clearly back in the bullpens around Major League Baseball. I mean, you've got to have guys who can throw. Dan Duquette was telling us the other day in our broadcast in Sarasota, you need a couple of guys who can throw 100 miles an hour.
Well, Jason Garcia made this club as a Rule 5 guy because of that.
That's right.
And I said, is Garcia going to make the club? Logan Barrett already picked up by the Texas Rangers, and he said, how many guys throw 98? Now, the game I saw, he didn't throw 98, but he's got a nice delivery. He's young, never played higher than A-ball, but the Orioles are going to take a chance because he may be a guy that can help them this year and then into the future.
And they didn't want him overthrowing in spring training. No. They asked him to, throw hard, but don't be reaching for that triple digit. 2-2, 10th pitch of the at bat right here. Runner off second base in the air to right field. Pretty good Wood going back 370 at the wall. Hey, goodbye home run. What an at bat. 10 pitches, and Alejandro Deza, after fouling off some good ones, drives one 370. Good for 2 RBIs and a 3-0 Orioles lead.
Well, we talk about the fact that if you strike out, nothing happens. So he fouls off the sliders, the changeups, the fastball up and in. And the more pitches you see, if you talk to any hitter in baseball, boy, or even a pitcher, I don't want him to see a lot of pitches. He sees a lot of pitches and then kind of did what he did up in Boston when he joined the Orioles last year. Hit a couple of home runs into the bullpen.
What a shot. Congratulations to Stephen Bowley Sr., our Maryland lottery contestant. That's another $500 for this swing of the bat by Deza.
Yeah, he finally gets something up, and it's 86. It's a changeup. It moves, but it moves right into the hitting zone, and then it speeds the bat up, and the ball just carries out of here.
So the Orioles get a couple on the long ball. That ball by Manny Machado will be to right field. Sosa's there and will put it away. Machado 0 for 2 and a walk now in the ball game. And keep in mind that home run by Deza comes against, we mentioned this earlier, a pitcher who rarely gives up home runs. He was ranked 5th in the American League in home run ratio per 9 innings. Just doesn't surrender them.
0.55. That's a little bit over a half of home run in 32 starts last year per 9 innings. An amazingly low number.
Delivery on the way, and that will be there. So the Orioles get a home run off the 4th best as regards that ratio.
Yeah, Kershaw's Kershaw. He's led the National League in earned run average the last 4 years. Won a couple of Cy Youngs.
That ball, a broken back ground to the third. Longoria's got it off the bat of Adam Jones over to first. That will retire the side. But the Orioles get a couple of runs on 2 hits. No errors and nobody left. Double by Joseph. Home run by Deza. 3-0 O's. Action, game 2 of this 3-game set. Wei-Yin Chen will take the mound against Nathan Carnes. Our coverage on Masson begins at 6:30 with those extra presented by Jeep, followed by game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on Masson.
So Wei-Yin Chen, he goes 16-6 and pitches very well for the Orioles. Nathan Carnes comes over from Washington. Orioles saw him in a start last year. Pitched very well this spring, and then because of the DL problems, Smiley out, Cobb out. He will get a chance to start. Probably a guy that would have been a long man, maybe your 5th starter, so he'll be moved up.
27 years old, Carnes voted the best curveball in the organization last year. Here is James Loney. Loney will take the pitch up and in for a ball. Loney flied out his first time up. Loney, Jennings, and then Rivera due up here in the 5th inning. Chris Tillman has given up only 1 hit. That was an infield hit, and just barely that. Leading off the 4th inning, Steven Sosa got it. He has walked 2, struck out 4. See, the pitch count now is up to 65 in the ball game. 2-0 delivery on the way, and that'll be up.
Well, he's doing exactly what you know he doesn't want to do. We always talk about having the shutdown innings, and you know, a lot of it has to do with the first pitch you throw. Sit there, I'm going to go out there and be aggressive, and then you miss.
And aimed it and got it in.
And then you aim it a little bit. And
usually that doesn't work either.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. No, maybe in darts.
Maybe in darts.
Maybe after you had a few, but no.
A few darts. 3 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and not what he wanted to do. Jim, right about that. Second leadoff walk. First one was in the 1st inning. Let's see if the Rays can take advantage of it. On Sunday, celebrate kids opening day at Oriole Park. It'll be the Blue Jays at Camden Yards. 1:35 game. All families invited for this first Sunday home game, featuring the graded necklaces for the first 7,500 kids 14 and under. Chance to run the bases for the kids 14 and under after the game. Kids will get to participate. Lucky ones selected early on may get to go out with a lineup card. Don't miss it. Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Here is Desmond Jennings, and he takes it away for a ball.
Yeah, the one thing about Chris Tillman, he stands way over on the third base side, so when he gets a little bit out of kilter, which would look like to Loney, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, he starts spinning a little bit. So again, very deceptive against righties because he's stepping right at you. But a long way to that outside corner, and you can see him steering the ball over there. And
Joseph sees it too, and will make his way out to the mound to talk to Tillman. 2-0 count, runner on, 3-0 lead Orioles. Now out hitting him 5-1. Dave Wallace, Orioles pitching coach. Another year in which they're going to try and, probably nurse is the wrong word, but try and massage this Oriole pitching staff, starters into an extra couple of outs a game, try and get the 200 innings if they can. Keep the bullpen well used but not overused.
Yeah. And how do you do that? Aggressive early. Yep. Come up with maybe a change-up. Norris is doing it. Chen.
2-0 delivery, got that one in there and popped it up again. Busy day in the air at first base.
Well, they're getting their pitches to hit, and he just didn't quite get it. 2-0. That's what Jennings likes, a belt high fastball, and he gets under.
Let's take a look at our PNC minor league report. Much heard about and much seen during spring training. Daniel Alvarez. You take a look. And Dario will be followed this season by the Orioles carefully as an outfielder in the future.
Well, they like the fact he's got the best throwing arm in the organization. He's a switch hitter, hit some home runs. Spring training doesn't tell you the whole story. And the other thing is, it didn't walk a lot last year. 2 walks all year, but much more, I guess, just discerning as far as swinging at pitchers' pitches this spring. Very impressive spring.
Here is Rene Rivera. With a runner on at first base. 3 walks now have been issued by Tillman. Both teams have had leadoff batters taken out in this game. Souza in the 4th inning when he turned to second, got caught in a rundown, taken out. There's his number. That's fair. Plays at first and get the out. They do. It'll move Loney to second, but there are 2 down.
Yeah, a little cut fastball, and he just cues it. Tillman does what Archer couldn't do in the first, even though it was a much more difficult play, as the odds of ground ball was right along the line. Chris just kind of like an Easter egg, don't you think? You saw it nestled in the grass, you just went over, picked it up.
Didn't need it, threw it.
Unless it was chocolate.
That's well then.
Put it in the
I
basket.
think twice the runner would have been safe. And there are 2 down. The runner on at second base. Rays have left only a base runner on, and that was in the second inning on a walk. That was at first. So they're going to get their first runner down to second here in the 5th inning. And Logan Forsythe, the opportunity. There's Loney.
They had a pretty good swing the first time because Chris Tillman fell behind him. Had a nice hack at a 2-0 pitch.
Outfield moves in a couple of steps on him and over to right. And that's where he hits it. It's going to be in the gap, though. It'll be played. Snyder, runner coming to the plate. Here's a throw. Joseph's got it blocked, and he is out at the plate. Oh, beautiful throw made on a one-hopper. Joseph had it covered, and Snyder got into position in right field, and Tillman smacks the glove with a thank you.
Yeah, it's all about Nick Markakis leaves. On comes Travis Snyder. The one-hopper, the tag, and the out.
And that'll do it. Tillman's getting help from the D in this ball game, and the Orioles protect the 3-0 lead. To come out on the field to ask for a review, and Kevin Cash did not come out on the field. The players left, but he was talking to the umpires from the bench, and he has asked for a review.
Well, my understanding was that he did have to come out. You do have to come out if it's the 3rd out of the inning. So they're saying, did he block the plate? It's all about positioning. You know, his foot right on the chalk line, if there was. It's been erased by the right-handed batters.
So the review going back to New York, and the question is whether the challenge is on the positioning at the plate by the catcher or on the call.
Yeah, it had to be the position, you would think. And boy, it's such a, we saw that last year. You try to get your foot on the baseline. You try to reach out for the throw. Don't try to impede the runner.
So it is going to be the collision rule. Did he properly block the plate? Did he leave an opening for the runner to have a way to get home?
Well, if you took that line and extended it all the way across to home plate, I don't think his foot was to the left of it.
I agree.
And you know, again, that kind of goes to the back corner of the plate. Well, again, this is one of those rulings, so they'll look at it, and then we'll see if the inning continues or if the Orioles are out of it. And they call him out. Yep.
So the Orioles' outstanding defensive play stands up under review. Great job by Snyder and Wright on the throw to Joseph, who blocked the plate. And the Orioles will indeed protect that 3-0 lead. And that's defense. Week continues. Oriole Park. The Birds host the arch-rival Yankees next Monday through Wednesday. Good seats still remain for each game in the series, including the first Ollie's Bargain Night, presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet on Tuesday. All upper reserved seats only $10 when purchased in advance. For tickets, Orioles.com or 848 Bird. Kevin Cash, part of that new rule that we were talking about this season. If it is a third out, as Jim said, the manager's supposed to come out of the dugout immediately because the team is not supposed to leave the field if there's going to be a challenge. I don't think he came out immediately. He was talking to the umpire from the dugout, and this is going to be part of the adjustment process for everybody. You see the managers now can challenge from the dugout without having to come out. The tag-up plays are now reviewable. They retain their challenge after every call that's overturned, and they must use the challenge to review the home plate collision rule, which is what we had in effect there. What happened there, the players just all came off the field, and Cash was talking from the dugout, so nobody was quite sure whether there was a...
I call it the John Gibbons rule.
Review. That's right.
He was very slow last year, so...
Yes. John took forever to walk out, so now he doesn't have to do it anymore.
Well, only with 2 outs. Only on the third out.
And here is Steve Pearce.
And he was very proud of that.
Yes, he was.
Not last year, but this year.
Towering fly ball. Will it stay fair? It is in that corner. And goodbye, home run. And the Orioles have their second dinger on opening day. Steve Pearce getting his first, and the Orioles have a 4-0 lead.
Well, you're going to try to lead the American League in home runs for the third consecutive year. You better get started early. And as you mentioned, we talked about Archer doesn't give them up. But today, it just looked like something up in the zone. Steve Pearce, the ability to pull the ball and kind of hook it but keep it fair. And again, it has something to do with the path of the bat. He stays inside the ball and he's able to hit it down the line. A lot of times you pull that ball foul. Not him. And it's almost like he fights it off, and you can see right there, just gets it out in front. That's what you have to do, and the ball in, and then doesn't hook it, stays inside it.
So the Orioles use the long ball, and for Pearce, he loves playing against this ball club and in this park. He now has 4 career home runs and 320+ batting average playing here at the Trop. Travis Snyder, the pitch to him, and that will be taken down low for a ball. Snyder's had a 2-for-2 day, an RBI, 2 singles. He got caught trying to extend a leadoff single in the 4th inning, thrown out by Jennings at second base. Fans buzzing a bit, watching Archer give up a couple of homers in a ball game. Chased one a little bit up in the strike zone, fouled it back, and Travis Snyder a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Steve Geltz, a young right-handed pitcher for the Rays, and of course a tremendous pressure when you are pitching and you don't get any run support, and that's what the defense and Chris Tillman has forced upon this young right-hander.
Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and a chopper back to the mound. Archer makes the play. So 1 away here in the 6th inning. I want to remind you that Masson wants to hook up with you and the Orioles gear to kick off the 2015 season. Visit the Masson Orioles Facebook page at masson.com/Masson Orioles to find out how you can win. Being social with Masson has its rewards. 1 away. Delman Young coming up. He struck out and flied out. Archer gave up 2 home runs in a ball game only twice last year in the 32 game starts that he has had, and the Orioles have hit 2 off him here in game 1 of 2015.
I mean, here we are in the 6th, and he's still throwing 97.
Delman Young on a big uppercut on that one is gone. Strikeout number 5 for Archer.
Very determined young man. I mean, very philanthropic. And there's the hard slider, hardest one of the day, 91.
A little visit to the mound with the bullpen ready to go if needed, and Kevin Cash is going to take the baseball. He reached down and took it out of the glove. I don't think Archer wanted out of this ball game. You can see him shaking his head.
Yeah, a couple of mistakes, and because he doesn't get run support, the Orioles make him pay.
85 pitches thrown. Geltz on. Runs off him. You see the 3 earned runs, 4 total.
Yeah, they kind of take the same page. As good as Archer was last year, the Orioles roughed him up with 10 runs and 10 in the 3rd innings today. The home run ball, something he doesn't do very often. So Steve Geltz, who last year came up at the end of the season, he was in 11 games this spring. Those were the 11 games last year. The numbers look pretty good, but 6 out of the 8 inherited runners scored. Again, you know, here's a chance. Came out of the Angel organization, traded for Dane De La Rosa, who I did not see him in spring training, actually came back from the Angels to the Orioles. I'm not sure if he's still in the organization. So
right-handers ready to go. 2 down. Ryan Flaherty shift on against Ryan, and the fastball at 91 is in there. The Orioles lead off homered by Pierce, 2-run homer by De Aza in the 5th. And the unearned run in the 1st inning have given them the 4-0 lead in this ball game. Geltz has faced the Orioles only once. Limited action that came last year for the 27-year-old. 0-1 count, 2 down. Ryan Flaherty, a strikeout. He is grounded out. And the cutter will come inside to him for a ball. 1-1.
It looked like a wind shear changeup. He got up there and just dove. There's another one. Well, that's the book on Ryan Flaherty, and again with Hardy out, dove for a ball, had the scapula strain on the left side, not the throwing arm. He was out throwing with Matt Wieters today, so he didn't think it was going to be that severe an injury, but he should be back probably 10 days or so. Flaherty, that's how they're going to try to get him out, off speed stuff.
2-1. That'll be fouled off the catcher Rivera. And a 2-ball 2-strike count. Ryan Flaherty. Ryan, of course, will get a chance to play at second base this year as well. Probably a little first base as needed. Chris Davis will be activated tomorrow after serving the final game of his suspension. Steve Clevenger is expected to be sent down. Backup catcher is on the roster today, along with Lavarnway, who was added today. So the Orioles have 3 catchers.
Yeah, the interesting utility guy will be Eberth Cabrera, who came on the end of spring and can play shortstop second, gives you a little bit of speed, and steal bases.
And swing and a miss. He got him. So Jones comes on and gets the strikeout, but the Orioles get the run, a run and a hit. First batter up in the inning, Steve Pearce. He connects, put it down that line in left field, and the Orioles have a 4-0 lead. In St. Petersburg, Florida, and so far a good one for the Orioles in just about every way. Tillman's been on with 4 strikeouts. The defense has been there. Flaherty, the tag that took Jaso out of the game. The bad wrist. De Aza delivering the home run, good for 2 RBIs. Orioles using the long ball with Pierce in that last inning, and the defense up to the task here on day 1. And the Orioles have the 4-0 lead, and a couple of homers in the outfield from the Guys on the corners. Tillman working 4-6-0 for the Orioles. 0-2-1 for the Rays. Looking bunt, charging in at third base, Manny Machado.
Yeah, no shift put on Kiermaier.
He flied out to left field his first time up. Machado will stay in. Outfield in a few steps as well. And a bouncer off the plate, 1-1.
Well, he's a great defensive player, and comes out of a small college, Parkland College in Illinois. And first 2 months, 21 extra base hits last year with 7 home runs.
1-1 delivery on the way to him. Kiermaier got around on that and not seen and still caught. Nice play by Snyder. He had trouble picking up that low line drive, but he found it in time.
Well, you know, I was talking to Wayne Kirby, Oriole first base coach, who works with the outfielders, and I said, tell me about Snyder. Didn't see him get to play the outfield that much. He said he works hard. He's good. Of course, who's he replacing? Gold Glover last year, Nick Markakis, is now with Atlanta. So you get the throw from Snyder to get the out last inning, and then a vicious line drive that he tracks very well. And instead of a base hit, you get yourself an out.
That leadoff man out of there again. Now the top of the order. John Jaso is in the spot. Came out with a left wrist contusion. X-rays were negative. That slide into second base when he got taken out into Ryan Flaherty's leg in the bag, injured that wrist. So DeJesus came on in his place, got an at bat, and popped out in the third inning.
Yeah, for John Jaso, if you come in feet first, there's no way that Flaherty puts his leg in front of you when you come in hands first. Bobby Grits used to do it. Bobby, a 7-time Gold Glover.
Asking for trouble.
Yeah, it really is.
No matter how many times you say it, it's like sliding into first base. It's going to go on. A natural instinct, seemingly.
Well, I would think it makes you pretty defensive, defenseless to come in. And
DeJesus 2-1 delivery on the way to him. 35-year-old will take the pitch 3-1. Tampa Bay last year hit .248. Played in 83 games with the Rays. 19 RBIs. Long professional career at the major league level.
What, like 12? I said, how long have you been? He said 12 years.
That's going to be a base hit into right field. He got one up, he got hit.
Well, that's it. You know, you got to throw a strike. You got a 4-0 lead. This is going to be a game where Chris Tillman will say, and I don't know how this is going to end because we're only in the 6th inning, but he said, you know, I've been effectively wild. I don't mean wild and walking people, but I've been all over the strike zone. And sometimes that works.
Yep.
But right there, 3-1, he's not going to walk him. David DeJesus gets a good pitch to hit and doesn't miss it.
So the base hit puts a runner on with one down. Steven Sosa Jr. coming up. DeJesus still has good speed. Not a situation where you believe there'd be any running going on, down 4-0 and only 3 hits in the ball game. Tillman's pitch goes after one upstairs. He has called out on strikes, then got caught in the rundown. Little concern, like he may have hurt an ankle or something in it, but stayed in the ball game and back up at the plate. He was taken out on a 2-4-3-6 after he picked up an infield hit, turned towards second, and the Orioles caught him in a rundown. 0-1 delivery to him, lashed to third base chance. Manny Machado relay throw, and they got a double play. Machado to Scope to Pierce. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on. Orioles 4, Rays nothing. By Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at ococean.com. And by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving the armed forces and their families for 80 years. Travis Snyder, big ball game. He's busy day in right field. Snyder contributing here in this game offensively with a couple of hits. Got the high fives from his teammates coming in after that catch that he made to get Kiermaier. Here's Jonathan Schoop. Schoop with a base hit, and he is grounded out. Joseph, and then the top of the order, De Aza to follow. Two more games, night games, here in Tampa tomorrow and Wednesday. 6:30 O's extra, 7 o'clock for the ball game. Orioles have Thursday off and then open up at home. Toronto in for 3. The 3 o'clock game opener at home Friday. Then Saturday night at 7 and Sunday afternoon at 1:30. And the Orioles will stay home, play the Yankees for 3 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all night games. 0-2 count. Jonathan Schoop. Eltz's pitch is foul back, and it will remain 2 strikes.
Yeah, how about if you're Steve Geltz, you come out of the University of Buffalo, you're undrafted, and here you are on your first opening day roster. Had a great spring for him.
Should have a pretty good bullpen right now, even with the injuries to all their starters. Their bullpen looks pretty good.
Well, Brad Boxberger, the guy the Orioles saw, he came in with what, the bases loaded, struck out the side on 9 pitches, struck out 14 per 9 innings.
Looked at it, and it will be called. Slid that one across.
So Geltz signs, and he never, ever, minor league or the big leagues, limited times, does he ever, and there's your Nissan pitch track, little slider down the way, ever started the game. Fastball, slider, changeup guy.
Gets a strikeout. Darren O'Day up in the bullpen for the Orioles. As the O's bat here in the 7th inning, leading it 4-0, 4-6-0. They've left 3. The Rays 0-3-1. They have left 2. Orioles have chased Archer, the Tampa Bay starter. Gave up the 4 runs, 3 earned, 6 hits over 5 2/3 innings. Couple of home runs. De Aza and Pierce. Pitch outside corner, strike taken. There's Steve Pierce at first base. Chris Davis will be at first base tomorrow. Will be added to the roster. Steve will move probably
DH out the outfield,
right field.
He could do a lot of things.
Field. It'll be matchups, and again, Buck Showalter, as he did last season, will be moving players around in order to keep everybody active and involved.
And that's really good. If you have a well-rounded roster, and the Orioles have that, it really works. I remember when George Bamberger left us, talking about the Orioles, and went to Milwaukee. He said, and he had a powerhouse. He goes, I like to get my extra men in there every 4 days. Number one, it involves them. Number two, gives the guys that are going to hopefully play into the postseason a little bit of rest.
3-1 delivery on the way, and it'll be foul back. And it's hard to ask somebody who hasn't played in a week to come off the bench in a key situation
and then expect him to be prepared. I used to say George, because when he was managing the Brewers, I said, could you rest maybe Molitor and Cooper and Gorman Thomas and all those guys? Let the Elm take the day off. Give them a day. They look a little tired to me from running the bases.
Have Palmer disease.
No.
2 strike count.
They didn't take the day off.
No. And it's there for a strike. So 3 batters, 3 strikeouts.
Well, he struck out about 38% out of the 38 batters he faced last year. And well, again, do you make good pitches? That's right at the knees. Already a little bit of slider, a little bit of changeup. This is a great angle right here. You can see right at the kneecaps. Been a pretty big strike zone by Dana Demuth. Some high strikes, some low ones. I would classify him as a pitcher's umpire. A guy that you're encouraged to throw it somewhere in this around the zone.
Here's Alejandro Deza, who is at it. A couple of runs in the ball game. One when he reached on an error, scored first inning, and then picking up a home run in the 5th inning for Deza.
Well, that really turned the game around. As you mentioned, 10 pitches. And then he hit the changeup out in right center.
And half a cut on that one, just fooled by the pitch, and a 2-strike count.
So here's a guy throwing 92, and it's not always about the radar gun, because he must be deceptive. You know, it's either they don't see it coming out of his hands, maybe he hides it with his body, his front shoulder, but 92 seems like it's about 3 or 4 miles per hour faster.
And wanted to go. Diaz had a total of 8 home runs last season, split with the White Sox and the Orioles. I mean, obviously not noted as a home run hitter, but as we've seen last year and this year, given an opportunity on a pitch he can drive, he can.
Well, he hit 17 2 years ago with the White Sox.
1 ball, 2 strikeout, 2 down. Diaz takes it, and there's another one. That's 4 strikeouts in a row. The only batters Geltz has faced. Retires him in order on K's 7th inning stretch time, game 1, opening day at the Trop.
So Orioles on the board first, an error, a walk, and then the single by Travis Snider. 1-0 O's. Early lead against Chris Archer, and then the strikeout by Chris Tillman of Evan Longoria. And then again the great defense right here. Nice throw. They able to tag out James Loney at the plate. Travis Snider again a big part of it. And then 10 pitch at bat by Alejandro Deza as he hits his first home run of the year. Deep to right center field. Chris Tillman on the mound for the Orioles here in the 7th inning. That's Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Chris has held this Tampa Bay team to 3 singles. That has been it. They have had only a runner, 1 to second base, and that was in the 5th inning. So he's gotten the job done, trying to add to a 2-0 mark and a 1.71 ERA he had against Tampa Bay last year, with a 4-6 lifetime record against these Rays, but effective, along with the defensive work that you saw some of there that the Orioles have done behind him here today.
Well, you threw the number out last year, and again, it's a huge number as far as I'm concerned as a former pitcher. How do you do against the first guy of an inning? 71% in 2014. They're at 50% today. So they've gotten the runners on and just haven't got them in. And when they got the hit, that's when Travis Snider made the great throw and the nice tag by Caleb Joseph at the plate.
Tillman's career mark in this ballpark is 1-2, but the Rays in games pitched here have hit only 189 for a batting average against him in this ballpark. Here is Cabrera. He will take it for a strike as Drupal Cabrera batting 3rd in the lineup. The 0 for 2 in the ball game today. Longoria and Loney to follow as the Rays open up their 18th season. Major League Baseball. Fouled back over the screen this time. And a 2-strike count on Cabrera.
And Manny Machado moved in at 3rd, so he tried to at least attempt to bunt the first time up. So they took that away from him, and now they'll move back into their normal defensive, even though it's a pull defensive positions.
Tillman with the 0-2 delivery, and that one will be popped up 3rd base side. Joseph's there and puts it away for the out. 1 down here in the 7th inning. Well, follow the Orioles all season with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, statcast, and more. MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Ernesto Friari warming up in the bullpen for the Rays. Orioles put the shift on against Longoria, who has struck out twice in the ball game. That one skips across the plate for a ball.
It has not, talking about Chris Tillman, had one of his better curveballs, but certainly threw a good one to Cabrera. Longoria knows he'll throw it.
That one drilled in the air to left field, and that's way back. Goodbye, home run. Evan Longoria, his 6th career home run against Chris Tillman, and the Rays are on the board.
Yeah, are they ever? One of our keys to the game is circle Longo, but with a 4-0 lead, he doesn't want to throw it down the middle, but he does, and then it's launched. That is a no doubt about it home run. I mean, pretty much it looks like a cutter, and you can see Chris Tillman's not even going to look at it. He knows it's gone.
Chris gave up 21 home runs last season, 9 of those to lefties. This time the righty Longoria gets it, the 4th hit and the first extra base hit for Tampa Bay. That one the other way by Loney, who's drawn a walk and flied out. The 4-1 ball game here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, and one of the themes, and we did it in the pregame show, was okay, can you get a couple of extra outs? So O'Day ready in the Oriole bullpen. He's been up throwing since last inning. He showed it to you. So can you coax another out or two? Use all your pitches, and Chris Tillman has been very adept at doing that.
Up in the air again into foul territory. 92 pitches have been thrown by Chris in this ball game. 51 of them for strikes.
Yeah,
Loney's
such a good spray the ball around the field hitter that they play him pretty much straight away. 2 years ago, hit more line drives than any hitter in the American League. He hit 299 on the year.
Breaking ball will miss. One of the things about Tillman throwing in this game, Jim, is that initially in spring training, the Orioles thought that Ubaldo Jimenez would be skipped in the first start. Chris would be kept on a regular rotation because of the day off. Because Jimenez has thrown so well, he now will pitch at home as part of the 5-man rotation. So Chris is going to get an extra day.
Well, that's a luxury that you can afford to have when you have 5 good starters. I think even though it looked like maybe Kevin Gausman would take Jimenez's place.
That one up in the air as he got jammed on it. Going back at second base, Jonathan Scope, shortstop Flaherty gets behind him and puts it away.
Yeah, 2 big guys.
Rebounded by Flaherty.
Well, we're going to see a bunch of rebounds tonight when they play Wisconsin plays Duke. Here comes a rebounder. He was actually a point guard.
Yes.
Buck Showalter coming out. There's your well, he gets 20 outs.
That's what he wanted. That's a great outing. Chris Tillman opening day with a chance to be the winner in it. O'Day will come out of the bullpen for Chris.
have a good start for the Orioles. A nice little pitch right there. Longoria swings through the cutter. 4 strikeouts, 3 walks on the afternoon. And a nice defense behind him. So he will leave here in the 7th inning. You can see probably the strikes to ball ratio not where he wants, but the runs certainly are. And of course we will eventually get to our AT&T call to the bullpen.
And Desmond Jennings against O'Day will take the pitch with 2 down.
Well, there it is. And of course the AT&T proud partners of the Baltimore Orioles. AT&T mobilizing your world. What a year that Darren O'Day had for the Orioles last year. And that's just the regular season. A bit of hamstring problems the month of September, but almost 70 games last year.
Against the Rays last year for O'Day, appeared in 9 games. He had a 1-1 record, a 108 earned run average. He gave up only a run on 9 hits in 8 1/3 innings against Tampa Bay last season. O'Day on, trying to get the final out here. Won't do it there. Jennings has got a base hit. So Desmond Jennings on with a 2-out single here in the 7th inning to keep the inning alive, as the Rays now late in a ball game trying to get that potential tying run to the plate. They're not going to do it yet. It'll be Rivera, who has had an 0 for 2. He's flied out and grounded out against O'Day. Well, the Rays trying to make a comeback of it here, having really struggled offensively. Part of that because of the defense of the Orioles through those first 6 innings of the ball game. Pretty good lead by Jennings over at first base. There's that sweeping delivery in their first strike, catching the outside corner for Rene Rivera. O'Day, 11 outings this spring, all but 1 for an inning each time, which is what he usually works. And a chopper down to third. Machado's got it, plenty of time, and gets it there for the out. So a run on a couple of hits, no errors, 1 left. Home run Longoria has put him on the board. Our Mazda do-ups: Manny Machado, Adam Jones, Steve Pearce. Due to the plate, Orioles 4, Rays 1. The Orioles did today. First inning, Snyder, RBI base hit the other way. Long ball, Diaz, good for 2 RBIs. That came in the 5th. Pearce leading off the 6th. A solo shot for the Orioles. And here at the Trop, the Orioles on top, 4-1. There's the line. So far, we go to the 8th inning. We'll see the 3rd pitcher for the Rays.
Yeah, last year between the Angels and then traded for Jason Grilli, they kind of changed teams. Actually met in the they saw each other in the restrooms in Chicago as they were going to their respective teams. They go, by the way, I just got traded for you. No, he's a strikeout guy, and did not have a typical year. Real hard thrower, and again, he's over 11 strikeouts per 9 innings, so he comes right at you.
Manny Machado will lead it off for the Orioles here in the top half of the 8th inning. Manny in the number 2 spot. A walk in the first inning stranded. 0 for 2. Since then, the Orioles trying to make it 5 opening day wins in a row. They can hang on to this lead. Outside of first by the dugout stand, sliding, no play for Loney.
Yeah, the only way that you can get close to it without maybe injuring yourself, low wall here is in most major league parks. Padded though. Yeah, Frieri's going to be one of these again. That seems like every year they have reclamation projects in their bullpen here in Tampa. So very effective until last year. Highest ERA of any reliever in baseball with at least 40 appearances. ERA over 7 runs a game.
Got that strike in at the knees, and a 1-ball 2-strike count to Manny Machado. Right back with you tomorrow night. Game 2 of this set. 6:30 O's extra. 7 o'clock the ball game. Wei-Yin Chen, Nathan Carnes, Beliveau in the bullpen. Jeff Beliveau for the Rays. That's there for a strike. Boy, the Orioles now, that's the last 5-6 batters have struck out.
Well, that's number 10 on the day, on the afternoon, and so again, maybe lost a little velocity when Frieri came up with the Angels. They acquired him from the Padres. He was maybe 93 to 95. How about that? You come into the 2014 season with an ERA about 2.76, and your ERA is 7.34. That's a bad year. That's why, yeah, you're kind of hoping.
No,
you need to want to change the uniforms and years.
Jones had a turn on that one and fights it off. The strikeout string started. Archer had a strikeout when he left the game. Then Geltz came on and struck out the last batter in the 6th, struck out the side in the 7th, and now Frieri's come on and struck out the first batter here in the 8th inning,
which is fine. Yeah, if you have a 4-0 lead, it's now 4-1.
Jones 0 for 3. Denied a hit on a fine play by Forsythe, his second time up back in the 3rd inning. And that one gets scooped up by Rivera, and a 1-ball 1-strike count. Brad Brock in the bullpen for the Orioles. Orioles last year, their bullpen was just outstanding work. Orioles' entire staff did that. That one hit him.
Yeah, a little
Turned in and got him.
Little backup breaking ball, so you just turn the shoulder in and keep the elbows, wrists, forearms away. This kind of backs up, spins right off the back of the left arm.
So Jones gets on the unpleasant way here in the 8th inning with 1 down. That'll bring Steve Pearce up.
He gets hit like one of my former teammates, Don Baylor, where you feel sorry for the ball.
Nobody got hit more than Don did.
No, well, I think Frank Robinson was right up there, and then of course I think Craig Biggio, who is going to be in the Hall of Fame, got hit a lot, and then
decked in armor though.
Well, that's true.
And a swing and a miss, throw down, and got him at first base. Adam took a big jump on the pitch, and Rivera throws him out.
Yeah, they said he was a good catch and throw guy, and you can see the big lead, and boy, just a snap throw almost from the knees. Nice tag by James Loney, and there you go. You can see great overhead angle here to show you the second out here in the 8th inning.
Ed Hickok's right there with the call, and that takes care of the runner. 2 down. That'll be foul back, and Steve Pearce with a 2-strike count. Sellout crowd of 31,042 on hand here at the Trop today. They still do not take the tarps off the very upper part of the ballpark, but those seats that are available for sale all sold out. That one is bounced, and the count at 1-2. Belfour and Beliveau, part of the Canadiens' first line in the bullpen. 1-ball 2-strike count on Steve Pearce. Shift on in the infield against him, and the pitch will be outside. Coming into the season, still no decision on what's going to happen with this ball club regarding their desire to have a new ballpark here somewhere in the Tampa Bay area. It's gone nowhere. Mayor submitted a proposal to the council. The council didn't even consider it.
No.
So here they are.
Owner Stuart Sternberg, since 2006, wasn't happy with that. And of course, he said it would take 5-6 years to plan a ballpark across the bay.
About Montreal, 50,000 for the 2 games, exhibition games played there this spring.
But the long-term lease here.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah,
hey, you signed it, you live with it. Here's the 3-2 delivery on the way, and he draws a walk. Nice eye. Pierce is on with 2 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Baltimore Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Baltimore Orioles. Well, the bullpen is going to get some work here in this ball game. Kevin Cash making his first changes as a manager anywhere. Kevin smiled, said, "I didn't even manage a little league team."
Against Travis Snider, came up last year, had a nice year for him. You could see the innings, more strikeouts than innings pitched, not a lot of walks. What I remember, had a really nice curveball for him, so he'll come in and match up against Snider. There are the numbers last year, 146 to left-handers. So Travis Snider didn't get to really play, but when he did last year, 381 against left-handed pitching for the Pirates.
Snider hit 16 for 42, only 42 at bats last year against lefties, and you compare that to over 280 against right-handed batters. He will take the pitch for a strike. That's why the question of platoon in right field this season for the Orioles remains a possibility. Runner at first. There are 2 down, 4-1 lead for the O's, batting here in the 8th inning. Pierce with a walk, being held by Loney at first base. Beliveau will make the throw over. Friari 2/3 of an inning and a walk and a strikeout and a hit batter. Busy, but got a couple of outs with that pickoff at first base on Jones by his battery mate Rene Rivera. Oh, 1 delivery on the way. That ball fouled straight back. Had to wait on that one a little bit, and quite enough. And an 0-2 count.
Yeah, you talked to Travis Snider. I said, "What's the difference?" He said, "Well, I didn't really have a lot of at bats, like you mentioned, 43." He said, "But I did learn." Clint Hurdle, of course, he was the manager, but he was a hitting instructor with Tex. He said, you got to use the whole field against lefties, and then when you get to 2 strikes, you better scuffle, because that's when they make their pitches. They want to get you to chase if you're a left-handed batter.
0-2 delivery will be up high to him. 1 ball, 2 strike count from Beliveau.
Yeah, you can see he's not a hard thrower. 87, 88. So it's about, Friari was at 91. Used to be a little bit higher than that, but made awfully good pitches. Steve Geltz, who came in 91, 92, but really pitched well, used 3 pitches very effectively.
Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and the breaking ball is going to miss inside. Really throttled back on that all the way to 72 miles an hour. Snyder takes a couple, gets the count to 2-2. Outfield plays him deep. I mean, they recognize his power.
And he's got power the other way too,
there.
Gary. Yeah. I asked him about how many home runs he hit the left. He said he hit about 4 or 5 home runs.
Throw over, and Pierce will go back to the bag. Now the Orioles have hit a ballpark that doesn't give up home runs for 2 here in this ball game. Longoria's had 1 for the only run for the Rays. So far, sparkling opening day for the Orioles. 2-2 delivery to him, and boy, did he wait on that. Oh my gosh, took that one right out of Rivera's glove and fouled it almost through the he fouled it through the on deck circle. You don't see many balls fouled off there. Shall not pass, because I think this is going to be a strike and about to swing right now. Count stays at 2-2. Pierce got a pretty good lead. Not going though, and that ball wrapped. He got around on it but fouled.
Well, there's what's happened if you don't get it out of the middle of the plate. Certainly reacted to that one well. I think he's going to really, from what I saw in spring training, as far as his approach, using the whole field, he's got strength. He can hit home runs without trying to hit them. Kind of a left-handed Nolan Ryan when he's healthy.
Runner not going. Breaking ball. He got it off the end of the bat. Drives it. Warning track wall. And it takes a hop off the top. Coming around is Pierce. Relay throw. He's going to come to the plate. Here's the throw. He is out by a country mile. And that time the country mile was a worthy adjective. So the Orioles going for that extra run. Can't get it. Credit Snyder, though. Pretty good drive right there. Pierce getting up saying, that play really was in front of me. And so was the ball. Is why he's safe.
I mean, the foot is in before he tags his chest.
Unbelievable.
I mean, the ball beats him, and this is a play kind of like the in the neighborhood at second. In the old days, before the replay,
you're out.
You're out. You're going get your glove, go play whatever you're playing, and now all of a sudden everything has changed with the replay.
That's great. Ben Worthett is the new replay official for the Orioles, as the Orioles stayed in house with their own people to take a look to help Buck decide whether or not to challenge or not. He challenges here, and boy, I think
he's safe.
He's safe.
And if they don't reverse it, they got it wrong, because it looks pretty obvious to me that his feet beat the tag on the chest. Now the ball beat him, but again, it's a tough play because you don't usually have that.
Nope.
And we're talking about Rivera's a very good defensive catcher.
It's too nonchalant a play. That's what happens here.
Oh, he's
Rivera
so safe.
He's out, and I'll just tag him, and the thing's over.
They're going to change this.
Because I got the ball. Look how many steps he had to take to get to the plate after he had the ball. But he got there.
Now, in retrospect, in hindsight, usually is 20/20. It would have been nice for him to come a couple of steps up the line. He had time to do that.
And he would have had time, but didn't. So I really think the Orioles are going to get a run there, and Snyder's going to add to his big day. He's out. He's the only one on the field. He's not giving up second base. Snyder.
Well, he also wants an RBI.
Well, yes.
That would have been his second of the game.
It's a double and an RBI. He's being called in here again when you have a final out like that, players aren't supposed to leave the field. The manager's supposed to let them know there's going to be a challenge, but that's got to be worked out
what's
the
on the
players
plate.
just react. Yeah, it's on the plate. The Olay play, the in the area play, just doesn't count anymore when you have video challenges. And he's safe.
Yeah, there he is.
He's safe. And the fans aren't going to believe it from what they saw or thought they saw, because the ball was there so far ahead of the runner. But in fact, as you saw, he was safe. And Kevin Cash is now on his way out. And Pierce will get the Golden Baseball Award in this game for being safe at the plate on that play.
When you're out by 5 steps and you score the 5th run of the game, that's a glorious moment.
That's a glorious play. Well, how about for Snyder? That's 3 hits, a double, 2 singles, and 2 RBIs in this game as Pierce scores and the Orioles take a 5-1 lead. Kevin Cash is going to make a pitching change here as Beliveau was in there for just the 1 hitter. Snyder now will get the 5th pitcher of the day. You see smiling with his teammates Machado and Jones, and for Snyder, he's smiling with his 2nd RBI and his 3rd hit.
Yeah, Grant Balfour comes on. That's the numbers last year. He was going to sign with the Orioles, didn't. Wouldn't give him a 2-year deal. And it's been a tough spring for him. Missed time because his dad David died of pancreatic cancer after a long battle. So certainly wish the Balfour family our condolences, and he's just going to get some work in here, try to get back into shape. And
fouled away by Delmon Young, the Orioles DH, who's 0 for 3 in the ball game. Last run charged to Frieri, who worked 2/3 of an inning. Beliveau with the hit, no part of an inning pitched, and Pierce with the run scored, and one that's going to be replayed for the next 24 hours continuously. That play will be on the loop everywhere you have baseball replays. Delmon Young and an 0-1 count. Runner off second base, 2 down. And a reminder, that's a play that will be referred to by coaches and managers. It's a reminder, the Olay play you can't do.
No, not anymore.
You can't do it anymore with the replays. You've got to actually make the play and be conscious of the need to do so. You just don't say, look, I got the ball 5 steps out of the runner, so he's out. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Big lead at second. And the breaking ball will miss outside, 2-1.
Yeah, Grant Balfour really struggled early and then pitched well for him, but he did something last year that he had never done in his career, and that is give up 5 runs in an inning. And not only did he do it once, he did it twice. So just one of those years where the command wasn't what it usually is.
Young is 2 for 9 off him lifetime, and will take the pitch up high. So Balfour all over the place here in the deliveries to Young, and the count will go to 3 balls and 1 strike. Snyder out there at second base, hoping to be driven home. 37-year-old right-hander on the mound. 3 ball, 1 strike delivery. Young looking for one to power, puts it down the line near the bullpen. It's a long run and can't get it. And there again, that on-field bullpen comes into play with Loney having to be careful about not the mound in this case, but where the plates are in the bullpen.
Yeah, we talked about here at or any of the fields with the dome ceilings. As you look at Andrizi, another youngster who's because of the injuries in the Rays bullpen, but you have the white ceiling, you have the on the field dugouts, you got people all over there, so you're trying to not trip, also follow the ball. That's really difficult to do. Very tough play. There's a lot of room down the sides here at the Trop because of that compared to most ballparks today. 3 ball, 2 strike delivery on the way, and again Young will foul that one back. Orioles lead it 5-1 as they had a run in the first inning on earned, 2-run homer De Aza in the 5th, solo shot by Pierce in the 6th, and a run scored here in the double by Snyder in the 8th inning. Steve Pierce has had a solid day, cleanup spot, homer, walk, 2 runs scored. 3 ball, 2 strike count. Well, for a pretty good battle right now. 7th pitch of the at bat coming to Delman Young. And Delman again down that line, this time fair territory. Forsythe, second baseman, has a collision with Sosa, the outfielder, and makes the catch in fair territory. Got stepped on, but appears to be all right. Orioles get a run in. Snyder the RBI, and the O's take a 5-1 lead. In right field, play to the plate. Joseph's got it covered and blocked, and the out is recorded. 5th inning. Forsythe had the base hit, but they can't get that run in, and that kept the Orioles lead, kept them off the board for the moment. And Snyder's had himself quite a game, along with that help from the plate block. It was challenged, and they found that Joseph had not committed any collision violation rule. Brad Brock comes on. There is the numbers last year. Came up and boy, lights out. Power change up, a lot of strikeouts, less hits per inning. Again, the ability to come in and pitch multiple innings, which is a huge type of guy. Again, it doesn't really matter if you're right-handed or left-handed. You can see the lefties hitting 250, more home runs, and in the righties under 200. Didn't realize that once you got to see him, you realize, yeah, it throws 93, 94, nice little slider, but the changeup gives him a 3rd pitch, which is very, very effective.
28 years old as we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning, a 5-1 lead. Orioles out hitting the Rays 7-5. Logan Forsythe, a base hit, and he is popped out, and he will go after the first pitch and miss it for a strike.
Well, the hit he got in the 5th, and we just showed you the result, the great throw by Snyder, nice tag by Caleb Joseph. That's what you talk about when you're looking for runs. Can you get the 2-out hit? He does. Yep. And then the Orioles thwart it by throwing the runner out at home plate. Loney doesn't run that well. I mean, 2 outs, you're going on contact. Orioles did everything right.
But now Brock trying to keep that right where it is. Not a save situation at the moment. Stays that way, he might have an opportunity to finish up the ball game. 0-1 delivery on the way, and a chopper again. He reached for it, fouled it off. Brock last season had a 2-1 mark. He had 8 outings against Tampa Bay, gave up no runs, 6 hits, and 9 in the 3rd innings against the Rays last season. Logan Forsythe 0-2. Kiermaier, the number 9 hitter, and then top of the order to Jesus due up. And pitch will be up high. Tigers didn't have Verlander. They had David Price, of course, former star right here in Tampa Bay. And Price worked 8 2/3 scoreless innings in that ball game. Opening up today with a Tigers win against Minnesota. Paul Molitor, the Twins manager, his first game now in charge of the Minnesota Twins. So the Tigers off and running 4-0 the final. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Jones shallow in center field, and the pitch will miss outside. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Got to ask Adam about that this year, because he did that spring training. He played shallower than he has, I think, in previous seasons, almost against everybody.
Well, he can go back.
Yeah.
And
boy, if you
I know that sounds like it's just kind of a throwaway line, but most outfielders are more comfortable playing deep and coming in. But if you are gifted, and he is, he's won 4 Gold Gloves, you're comfortable. And now maybe he'll move back depending on the count or the hitter. But right here, still 2-2. Brad Brock still got another pitch to make his pitch.
Yeah.
Right there. Right on the fist. And Logan Forsythe, I was talking to Logan Forsythe, and he said, I'm probably going to be a utility guy, but because of the injury, and we talked about the Orioles have a multitude of injuries. The Rays even have more. Nick Franklin was probably going to be the shortstop, and then Cabrera would have been the second baseman. Because of the injury, Logan gets a chance to play.
2 ball, 2 strike delivery on the way, and a great pitch. It ate him up, down low and away. Foul tipped and caught.
Well, that's that Felix Hernandez changeup they talked about. Archer, he threw some real good ones. He threw one bad one to De Aza for the home run, but the bottom drops out. So you're now throwing 93, 94. Sharp slider, and then the bottom just goes down. And again, the deception on the changeup. What's the arm action look like? And it looks exactly like his fastball.
So Brock comes on and gets the out. 1 down. Here's Kiermaier. Orioles want to keep him off the base pass now with that 4-run lead. Been a lot of runners stranded here. 4 for the Orioles, 3 for the Rays. Rays just haven't had a lot of base runners. The home run by Longoria, their only extra base hit of the game prior to that one. Fair ball that's going to go into the bullpen. It'll take the hop. Snyder coming over to get it. And Kiermaier races in the second base with a double.
Yeah, he really got bigger and stronger. Home run hitter in college, and then he had a hamate bone injury he was talking about back in 2012. He said, I looked films of my swing. I was horrible. Not anymore. I mean, this is a quick bat. Tries to get it in on him, and he just shoots it over the bag.
Well, that will turn the order over.
Yeah, and that's why that extra run. I mean, the tag play or the non-tag at home plate really makes a big difference. Because at the end of the day, you still have to get 5 more outs and still have maintain a lead, and that's what the game of baseball is all about.
So here's De Jesus, 1 for 2 with a base hit. Jesus started in this leadoff spot as the DH. Play at second base, left wrist contusion. Had to come out of the ball game after only 1 at bat, and De Jesus came on to DH. Picked up a single his last time up. 6 hits now for the Rays. Brock's delivery to him, another one that falls off the table. Foul tip for a strike. Tommy Hunter for the Orioles. Brock with a 1 ball 1 strike count. Don't want to go any further in the lineup if he can help it here. Get down into that Cabrera, Longoria, Loney group. 3, 4, 5. Danger lurks with a long ball. 1-1 delivery on the way, and he'll just miss. Brock with a 2 ball 1 strike count of David De Jesus. Orioles won 6 and lost 4 in games here at the Trop last year, part of their 12-7 record against the Rays. 2-1 pitch, got one to hit. That's where they weren't playing, and just out of the reach of Flaherty. Runner will go to third. Flaherty had moved over just far enough for that ball to squeeze by.
Yeah, 93 away, and he just shoots it. I mean, he hits it so hard you could see him up the middle just enough, and then he just can't quite get to it. And Kiermaier had to go back because he made sure that he wasn't going to get thrown out of third base by Flaherty.
So first and third. The shift giveth and it taketh away. We've seen that in this game on both sides. Steven Sosa coming to the plate. He has picked up a base hit, got caught in a rundown on that hit, and Buck Showalter with a bullpen ready to go is on his way out. He's got Tommy Hunter warming up in the pen, and there's the call. So Brock will come out, giving up a couple of hits. One down, 2 on. Orioles up 5-1.
Yeah, the Rays against the Orioles bullpen let a hit off O'Day, 2 off Brock. Tommy Hunter's trying to come in and put the brakes on right here. Great year last year. The closer early. That eventually became Zach Britton, who went 37 out of 41. Tommy saved the games, just didn't do it as efficiently, but then went to the bullpen and was marvelous. Last 43 games or appearances, ERA under 2 runs a game at 1.77. A strike throwing machine.
So Steven Souza Jr. will come on to face Hunter. First and third with only 1 away. He has picked up a single, 1 for 3 in the ball game. It into a double play his last time up. Hunter would like the K or another one of those ground ball double plays. First time the fans have really been able to get into this ball game. Hunter's pitch to him will be outside on a bouncer stopped by Joseph. Third base, Kiermaier had the 1-out double. DeJesus base hit on it first for the Rays. And there they be at the corners.
And as you mentioned, they just want to get the tying run at the plate.
1-0 delivery to him will be there. Tommy had extensive work against this Tampa Bay team last year. 9 2/3 innings in 9 appearances. Gave up only 1 run on 7 hits, couple of walks, 7 strikeouts. Rays hit only .212 against him last year. Souza swings through that one.
Yeah, 2-seam fastball. He added that last year. The cutter went away, and then the numbers came down dramatically. You know, he's got occasional curveball, and again, he was number 10 as far as velocity of bullpen arms. Average fastball was about 96 last year.
1-2. Souza takes it and he's gone, and he knew it.
Yeah, 97. Well, that's the problem. A young hitter, and you're coming to the big leagues, and you don't really know the pitchers. It's not like Tommy Hunter is an easy mark out there. So right here, I mean, this is a little extra. I mean, it ends up right down the middle of the plate. But if you're a young hitter, the game speeds up. Big out. That's what the Orioles were looking for, outs.
So now first and third. And there are 2 down, and as Drupal Cabrera 0 for 3, popped out, flied out, struck out.
Yeah, they don't give him the bunt now.
Nope. In at third base, Manny Machado will play just off the grass at third. Runners off first and third, and Cabrera will take the pitch down low for a ball. Cabrera has 5 hits and 11 at bats. Lifetime off Tommy Hunter. That's a big moment in the ball game here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Rays trying to squeeze through that door, down 5-1. Each team with 7 hits. Cabrera launches that one left center field. That may fall. It does. Takes the hop. Cut off by De Aza. 1 run is scored. They'll hold the other. It's a double. And an RBI by Cabrera. Kiermaier scores. De Jesus stops at third. And it's 5-2.
That just finds a gap in the defense. We're playing pretty much straight away. Again, we just saw 97, and I mean, there's another ball down the middle of the plate, and it's up just enough. And there's De Aza. You could see him trying to get to it, and it just falls to his left. So that makes it 5-2, and it does exactly what you want. You're one swing away from tying it. They get Longoria, who's already homered. That was off Chris Tillman for the only run he gave up to the plate.
So here's the beauty of baseball. Here's the matchup as a pure fan, not as an Oriole fan that you're going to want, but a little drama here in opening day. Hunter's delivery to him is a bloop. It'll go to second base, and he is retired. And Longoria is 3 for 18 off Hunter, and this inning is over. A run in on 3 hits, 2 left on base. Orioles lead it by 3. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free and win real money. And by PNC, for the achiever in you. Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer, great to have you with us for this 62nd opening day for the Orioles, trying to make it 5 consecutive opening day wins. Defend the American League East championship that they won, led by Tillman, a run on 4 hits, 6 2/3. And now we go to the 9th inning.
Yeah, Kirby Yates comes on. The Orioles saw him. Nelson Cruz hit a home run off him in June at AAA last year. Those are his major league numbers. He was 16 for 16 down at AAA Durham.
Ryan Flaherty will lead it off against him. A couple of strikeouts and a ground ball out. A shift is on off the fists and back over the screen. A good ball game for the opener here. The Orioles got to starter Chris Archer with the 4 runs, 3 earned, over 5 2/3 on 6 hits. Bullpen has given up a run. Frieri charged with that 5th run. Came in the 8th inning, and that was a walk that ended up crossing the plate. 0-2. And the closer, Zach Britton, now with the change in the score, you do have a save situation. Could change if the Orioles can get a run in here or more in the top of the 9th inning. And that one in the air to right field. They may do just that. Flaherty deep, and goodbye, home run. It is a save situation no more, as the Orioles, with another long ball, take a 6-2 lead.
Well, not only are you trying to defend the American League East, the division win, you're trying to defend the home run title, and that's number 3 on the afternoon. You could see this pretty much not a good 0-2 pitch down the middle. You could see just trying to maybe shorten the swing a little bit. Hadn't worked till that pitch. Got a great pitch to hit and did miss it.
So Ryan Flaherty gets the hit, making the start today at shortstop for the Orioles. The home run here in the 9th inning, a 6-2 lead. Each team now with 8 hits in the ball game. Jonathan Scope, base hit, 1 for 3. And the pitch by Yates will be outside for a ball. Well, the Orioles doing what they needed to do. They gave up that run in the bottom half of the 8th inning and come right back in the top of the 9th and put it back up on the board. Zach Britton's going to keep warming up in the bullpen for the Orioles. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way. That'll be outside for a ball. Orioles have been the epitome of today's baseball team. Strikeouts and home runs.
Well, as long as you hit the home runs
and 3 home
that'll
runs.
Work.
Yeah. 2-1 delivery on the way and a swing and a miss, off speed breaking ball away. And a 2-ball 2-strike count on Jonathan Scope. Crowd that had something to cheer about last half inning. Flaherty quiets that down in a hurry. And the 2-2 delivery to him off the end of the bat to short. Cabrera. One away. One down, nobody on, and that'll bring up Caleb Joseph. He's had a fine day today with a double, run scored in the 5th inning, 1 for 3, and a good play at the plate earlier in the ball game.
And then your relationship with your pitching staff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, last year, almost 80 starts. The ERA when he caught was 3. Now he certainly would be the first to tell you it's not exactly all my fault, even though he did a terrific job. But you got to have that communication. You got to have the trust, and his ability to throw people out.
1-0 count on him with 1 down. He'll take it away. He's got a real good friend watching just below us on the 2nd floor in the press box where the writers are. Duke, who's the press box attendant here in Tampa Bay. Caleb and the family have stayed with them for spring training in this area because a couple of years ago Caleb got called up very late for a spring training invitee, and then for the season didn't have any place to stay. He had a friend who played at the time for the Rays, introduced him to Duke, and they've become good friends. That'll go to right field, shallow. Look out! Oh, over the shoulder catch made. An outfielder's ball, but Loney, the first baseman, hauls it in.
Yeah, I don't know if Steven Souza ever really saw it. Of course, he almost stepped on Forsythe, and then right there he could have certainly called him off. That's really your mission as an outfielder. You go after it. Infielder is going to go out as fast as he can, and when he hears you yell, you get out of the way. Otherwise, you're going to have those collisions.
So Souza, learning day. There'll be some discussions, I suspect, after the game or tomorrow about almost collisions and calling off infielders. Alejandro Deza. Deza with a big day for the Orioles. Reached on an error, scored in the 1st, home run in the 5th. He's had key plays. Alejandro getting the start in left field as expected. Opening day lineup pretty much the Orioles anticipated at the start of spring training, but for the injuries. Swing and a miss and an 0-2 count. Deza asking for and getting a timeout from Dana Demuth, the home plate umpire. Get a few of those given this year. 0-2 delivery on the way to him, and that'll be inside. Jackknife's out of the way. 1-2.
Well, his swing, and it was a 1-0 ball game, really did swing the game in the Orioles' direction as he took the 10th pitch, and it's nothing more annoying if you're making your pitches, which is what Chris Archer was doing. He's flicking them foul, and then he gets a change up in the middle of the plate and hammers it for a 2-run home run, and 1-0 becomes 3-0.
If you're going to highlight an at bat of the ball game, that certainly would be it in the results.
And he'll be the first to tell us, and all the media, that I wasn't trying to hit a home run, but he got a pitch. And again, the changeup ended up in the middle of the plate. One of the few that Archer threw that was hittable. And it just kind of turned this game around, at least at that point.
2 ball, 2 strike count. Tillman on the line, the 2 starters. Chris, a chance to get the opening day win. Archer could be the loser. Went 0-1 against the Orioles last year. 1-2 lifetime. 2-2 delivery on the way. Diaz really got around on that one. Fouls it back. The seats way out in front, holds the count at 2-2.
Yeah, as a starting pitcher, you throw anywhere from, maybe if you're having a good day, at 80 to 110, 115 pitches, and you may throw the right pitch, but you just don't locate it well. And I think that's pretty much what happened. And Alejandro did not miss it.
2 ball, 2 strike count with 2 away. Pitch on the way to Diaz, who again will foul that one back.
And you kind of like
seeing this out of a leadoff batter.
Well, you like the approach. He's not down on the bat handle. I mean, he's choked up.
Like these long at bats.
I mean, the guy that's hit the most home runs in the history of baseball used to choke up. And that was Barry Bonds. It may not be the only reason he hit him, but one of the reasons.
2-2 delivery on the way, and that'll be foul back. That'll be ignored by the play-by-play broadcaster. At this
what I'm saying is you can hit home runs choked up.
Know.
I mean, the one home run that I threw to Mickey Mantle, he came up after he struck out, and Andy Etchebarren said, "Well, Mick, you're choking up." He says, "I'm trying to hit that high fastball," and he hit the third deck, the football spotter's box out there. It was like the missile, and
he hit it.
Yes, he did.
2-2 delivery, and that's inside again. So 3 pitches that have been way inside during this at bat. We'll take the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes. As again, is able to work the count and work the pitcher. In this case, Yates was given up the leadoff homer in this inning to Flaherty. 3-2 delivery, and again fouls it off.
Yeah, cutter in, fastball in. I mean, Kirby Yates doesn't have a whole lot more to prove at AAA. The year before last, 20 out of 23 is their closer. Last year, 16 out of 16, and then came up to the big leagues.
Well, let's see what Diaz does with this long at bat. So far, so good. Now they want to talk about it. Diaz has really forced a couple of pitches here to really have to work.
And then over the course of a season, if he's able to do that, then you have to, I mean, he's leading off, and then you have one of the better number 2 hitters in baseball right behind him when he's healthy, and Manny Machado, and then the heart of your lineup. And Chris Davis will come back from the suspension. There's Manny.
He had 119 strikeouts last year and only 39 walks for Diaz combined. White Sox Orioles. Doesn't look like that when these at bats we've seen. 3-2 delivery on the way, and there's the K. He went upstairs, and Yates gets him on the strikeout. But the Orioles add another. We go to the bottom half of the 9th inning, and thanks to Ryan Flaherty, the Orioles get that run back they gave up in the 8th inning and have a 6-2 lead. As are the Orioles, as Steve Pearce, an impressive performance. Home run, walk, run scored for him today. And Zach will come on to finish it up.
Yeah, talking to him down on the field, there are the numbers. 37 out of 41. Had to make the team. Out of options last year. Tommy Hunter is the closer early. I mean, he was just marvelous. Lefties, righties, didn't really matter. You can see all the home runs by right-handed batters. And he said, I was ready about 2 weeks ago. He said, the more I threw, the more my velocity went down. So I'm ready for the season to start.
Brandon Guyer will be the pinch hitter and will take the pitch inside as he comes on for Loney, the left-handed batter. And Kevin Cash looking to get the matchup he wants here to start this ninth inning. So Guyer against Britton, and Zach's pitch will be up high, 2-0.
Yeah, twofold. You hope he gets on. You know, not that Loney can't hit left-handers, but Guyer's probably going to play against Chen tomorrow, so you get him in at bat here. And the Orioles looking for 3 outs, and the Rays looking for base runners.
Britton's delivery to him will be fouled off. For Zach last year, not much of a difference. Left-handers 170, right-handers 182. 4 home runs surrendered, all 2 right-handers, but obviously with that great sink, he's become one of the most pronounced ground ball pitchers in baseball.
He threw like 19, I think 19 balls in the air last year.
2-1 delivery on the way, and Guyer will take it away, and the count goes 3-1.
Well, he ought to be taken here, at least in any baseball book I ever read. You
got to have runners.
I mean, you got to make him throw a strike. Just pretend you're going to stand there and track the pitch.
Here's the 3-1 delivery on the way, and he did, and it was.
And you know, the one thing about Zach Britton, and you mentioned about the sink and the movement, is that if he throws the ball for the middle of the plate with his movement and velocity, he usually doesn't end up there. And that's one of the reasons he's as successful as he is.
3-ball, 2-strike delivery on the way, and that's going to be fouled back.
Yeah,
so the count stays full.
You don't get too many guys that can throw 94 to 97 and get the ball to sink.
Britton's lifetime mark 2-2 against Tampa Bay, 5 out of 6 in save opportunities in his career against the Rays. Here's the 3-2 delivery again, and he got him perfectly located for his strikeout.
Yeah, again, he's aiming for the middle of the plate. Joseph's glove's going to be right down the middle. As you can see, it starts inside, it sinks. Brandon Guyer thinks it's going to be up in the zone, just sinks and runs down below it. And you faced one batter. You can see the 2 seams. He just pulls on it and able to get the ball to sink with the best of them.
So Britton records the first out, bottom of the 9th inning. Jennings, and that one bounced. Didn't hit him on the foot. Hit the dirt as he backed out of the way. He's had a walk and a single. Has also popped out in the ballgame. Catcher Rene Rivera waiting in the on-deck circle as Britton works here, needing 2 outs to assure opening day win here for the Orioles. Jennings 1 for 7 off the Orioles left-hander. And the pitch is on the outside corner for a strike at 82 miles an hour. One ball, 1 strike delivery to him. The Orioles got the victory last year against Boston in the opener 2-1. Zach Britton got the win in that ball game. Previous years they beat Tampa Bay. Year before that, 2012, beat Minnesota. Year before that, they beat Tampa Bay. Now trying to do it again, 5 in a row on opening day. 1 ball, 2-strike delivery, and that's a little bit outside. Got him to look 2-2.
Now the Orioles, they win opening day in 2014, and then they lose the next 4. And really start out the way you want to script it. But that's certainly changed over the last 4 months of the season.
Here's the 2-2 delivery, and a ground ball Britton will reach up for. Has time. Guns it over and records the out. Pretty good fastball. Well, talking about how the Orioles started it last year on their way to the division championship. They ended up in the first month, being March and April, with the 15th in record. Batting average was 5th, runs per game 9th. Home runs early on weren't there. Team ERA wasn't there. Boy, did that change after the first month.
Well, the 4.5 runs were the most they scored in any month. But again, the pitching got better. You know what, they went to 15 and 15 in May, and then they started to play really good baseball. You know, months where you're 10 games over, 7 games over, 9 games over, 4 games over in the month of June, and got back on track.
Britton needs one more to record a win. Here's for the Orioles. Here's Rivera, the catcher.
Yeah, that's a pitch that Zach started throwing last year, where you almost throw it at the kneecap of a right-handed batter, and he gets so much run, the ball runs back, and the hitters give up on it.
Breaking ball will miss outside. Chris Tillman a chance to be the winner. Archer would be the loser.
If Chris Tillman wins today, he will now be 39 and 16. That's a nice little run you're on.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery. Swing and a miss by Rivera. 1-2.
Yeah, he's trying to lift it, and the ball's just diving. 95.
Trying to finish it off right here against Rene Rivera. Here's the 1-2 delivery, and that's a strikeout, but it's going to be a wild pitch. Ball will go to the backstop, and the game will go on.
Yeah, sharp slider that Caleb Joseph just can't catch. And I don't believe it bounced.
Didn't bounce it?
No.
Pass ball then.
I mean, you think now maybe no, he just right there you can see the decision. He's got the glove up, he tries to turn it over, and too late. Not with that late move. But I mean, that's kind of Mickey Lolich, Ron Guidry, Steve Carlton. I mean, it's a nasty breaking ball.
So a runner on at first base. Here is Forsythe, and he'll go after the first pitch and foul it off. So the Rays keep it alive on that one. Britton with a couple of strikeouts here in the inning. Matt Wieters, J.J. Hardy over there, a couple on the DL for the Orioles watching game 1. Forsythe, his base hit came in the 5th inning. 0-1 delivery to him will be inside. This is where Buck Showalter's over there, even with a 6-2 lead, going, come on, I don't want you throwing any more pitches. Let's go.
Well, he knows the equation. You need one more out and have the lead.
Keep Britton's pitch count down. There's a chopper to third base. Manny Machado. Ball game over, and the Orioles win it. A real fine performance here in the 9th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 will be left on base. There are your totals. 6-8-0 for the Orioles. 2-8-1 for the Rays. Tillman will get the victory. Archer will take the loss. Snyder with a big day with the double, 2 singles, 2 RBIs, throw out at the plate. And for Buck Showalter, 6th season begins with a very impressive performance overall by the Orioles as a team.
Well, I thought it was so interesting. A lot of the prognosticators were like the beginning of spring training, maybe 4th, maybe 3rd, maybe 5th. And then now they're going, whoa, geez, even though the Orioles did not have a winning season, or at least spring training season, they're going, they might finish 1st.
Yep.
Well, if they play like today, where they only give up 2, score 6, hit 3 home runs, and you get your starting pitcher to get you into the 7th inning, you'll take your chances.
Pretty darn good. And the defense, which Buck Showalter, of course, always talks about, it's shown here in this game. Got a runner, made too big a turn at first base, able to catch him in the rundown, took a leadoff man off. Snyder in that 5th inning getting the throw to the plate. Great work by Joseph on the coverage there to record the out. Snyder again in right. Ball he had trouble picking up, makes a diving catch. Went like that all day for the Orioles.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to Wayne Kirby as they were, hitting yesterday and doing all the drills. He said that our outfielders, he said, we run, we throw, we make sure all our throws are on one hop. And you see a lot of those things come to fruition after working on your outfield play, not to mention all the other facets of it over the 6 weeks that you spent in spring training, which apparently wasn't as long as everybody thought it was.
No, apparently not.
It worked out fine.
A lot of Oriole fans, as you see, on hand here today. We get that during the national anthem when the O is shouted out, and down that left field side there were a lot of O's shouted out today, and a lot at the end of the ball game as the Orioles pick up the win. Travis Snider is going to be joining us here, and in fact he has joined us. Travis, congratulations. Outstanding start all the way around for you. You got to be happy with the ball game. You played well.
Yeah, it was a good team win. I think we pitched really, really well. Tillman gave us a great shot. Guys came in, closed the door, and played good D behind them.
So doubles, RBIs. Can we steal some bases along the way?
We'll see.
Yeah,
if the opportunity presents itself, I'll be ready.
Well said. Well said. Hey, really marvelous. You know, I was talking. I watched you take batting practice, and I know it's only batting practice, and really didn't get to see you play that much because Buck didn't put you in the lineup of the games that I did. But I was impressed. And we were talking about the difference between you were young and now at 27 is the way you use the whole field, and we saw that today.
Yeah, it's a game of adjustments, and you got to take what they give you. So fortunately, I was able to get some pitches to hit, and the guys around me did a great job putting the ball in the seats and then scoring runs.
How about your last RBI in the ball game of the two that you picked up? How about that one? Have you seen a review of that yet?
I think I owe Stephen Pierce a ribeye for that slide. That was pretty nice. I didn't really know what was going on when he was running home, but he had a pretty good idea.
And they were right. You'll see it on the replay. How about playing the outfield here at the Trop?
You know, playing on turf, you try and stay on your feet. I misread one ball and had to dive, but you know, other than that, you try and keep the ball in front of you. You know it's going to move quick, and try and keep the outs where they need to be.
How about the fly balls up into the roof?
It wasn't too bad. I played here before. It's not like the old Metrodome, but you know, there's sometimes you get it in between ball, and you just got to trust your read.
Hey, congratulations. Great start for you, and we look forward to a season with the Orioles for you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
There you go. Travis Snider, who had an outstanding day today. Big effort all the way around. We'll join you again tomorrow. Game 2, 3-game set. Wei-Yin Chen takes the mound against Nathan Carnes. Our coverage on Masson will begin at 6:30 with those extra presented by Jeep, followed by our game coverage at 7. Orioles win this one. They come away with a 6-2 win. Opening day is now in the books. And this has been a Masson presentation. Those extra presented by